My bad, Grump. I forgot to hit the little up. What? I was asleep at the switch today, Grumpy, huh?
I'm shocked.
Hey, welcome everyone to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I am your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how are you?
Happy right now.
Why
I don't know how happy I'm going to be.
Why are you throwing that caveat on happy right now?
Because right now, the Islanders have been ascribing to what I've said they should do this offseason. And I'll be interested to see how they handle the next steps.
Fair enough, Grumpy. I guess I know you had to have been excited, right? We move Jordan Eberle. And again, this is going to have a lot of implications here, or we lose.
Well, hold on. Are you doing a spoiler alert? Is that what you're doing? Maybe some people are not aware.
Spoiler alert, the Islanders had Jordan Eberle selected off of their roster, and he's going to be a member of the Seattle Kraken. So spoiler alert, in case you didn't get the millions and millions of updates of the anticlimactic expansion draft day, Jordan Eberle will be a member of the Seattle Kraken.
Very true. I'm happy. Why? Because we lost more salary. Now, what are we going to do with that salary cap space? That's, for me, that's what the whole thing is about. What are we going to do with the salary cap space? You know what I don't want to say happen? Oh, hold on. I just got myself another notification here. Seattle gives Olesiak a 5-year deal, $4.6 million for the defenseman from the Stars.
Okay. Grump, why don't you hit that on vibrate, my friend?
But it is now. It's on vibrate now.
I know you just try to play it off. No worries, my friend. But I know that derailed your thought a little bit, but this is setting the scene for what is hopefully going to be a monumental offseason here for the Islanders. They can really take advantage here of this. We talked about how important it was to clear cap. This is just part of the process and part of the plan. We can't guarantee you, with the Islanders losing, quotation marks there, Jordan Eberle in the expansion draft, that means that we are definitely re-signing back Kyle Palmieri.
No, that's booze. Where are the booze?
I don't have booze on the soundboard.
Well, you better get them because, like I was mentioning before, what I don't want to see is re-signing back Kyle Palmieri, and he's your first line right wing. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Casey Zizekas getting re-signed to a huge deal because you know something? The team, if it wants to win a Stanley Cup, if it's serious about winning a Stanley Cup, instead of just bringing everybody back, which that team's not good enough to win, not good enough to win. You want to know how I know? Because they've had the same team for 2 years, and they didn't win. They lost. Okay? So that team is never going to get any better than they were the last 2 years. They'll probably be worse. Okay? That's fine.
Do you know how to set a stage, Grump? You're jumping the gun.
Well, because here's the thing. You asked me why I am unhappy.
I said Kyle Palmieri is going to be signed back, and I cheered. And here you are.
That's a boo. That's a boo. That's a failure. That's a failure. If they sign him back, if he's the guy they bring back, that's a failure. And
no, it's not.
Failure. Absolutely, it is. You're going to pay another ham and egger 30-year-old or ridiculous money for term. Here's the thing, right? What did Taylor
don't know that. We don't know that yet. And again, you're throwing it out there. Before we jump too far into things, Grump, we do have an ad to read. We do have to promote the podcast, Grump. Okay, so before we get too much into it, I just said we're bringing Kyle Palmieri back, and you're ready to jump the gun. That being said, guys, remember, we are going to be going live every single Saturday, bare minimum, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time the entire offseason. There are going to be time periods we're going to also do one during the week, depending on guests we have on during the week. But to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action, make sure you subscribe there on YouTube, like us there on Facebook, and follow on Twitter, or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. We do have an ad there to read from DraftKings. You've heard us talking about DraftKings. I know you have. The leader in daily fantasy sports, and how payday can come every day by entering their contest with with huge cash prizes up for grabs. Make a lineup on DraftKings. It adds excitement to every night, and it's simple to do. Draft your lineup and feel the sweat like never before. Every moment means more with DraftKings lineup on the line. DraftKings has paid out over $7 billion to users across all sports, and DraftKings is the leader in daily fantasy sports, so there's no better place to get on all the action. Now that you know how to play, download the DraftKings app and sign up using the code THPN, and new users will get a free entry with the first deposit. Again, that's code THPN to get a free entry with your first deposit only at DraftKings. Minimum of a $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for full details, Grumpy.
Well, you looked like you start off, had a little bit more life when you started the ad read, and I actually thought you were doing pretty good, and then you resorted back to TJ and choked right at the end, so you did not complete it admirably.
Well, Grump, here's the thing. You are going to jump the gun. I could tell you this. Them moving Jordan Eberle means that we are going to sign back Kyle Palmieri. That is booked. That is penciled. And I will agree, if you just make the offseason of, hey, we're just going to do everything status quo, we're just going to sign back and bring back the entire team, that is a failure of an offseason. That's not what we're going to do. Okay. We have more than that in plans and in the works.
Okay. So you're just going to bring back Kyle Palmieri, and you're assuming he's going to take Jordan Eberle's spot, right?
No.
Well, then you're full up with right wings.
Okay, Grumpy. You understand what would be the issue if Kyle Palmieri comes back on a cheap and plays on the third line?
He sucks. He sucks. The point is he sucks. He's a piece of garbage. He sucks. He's a below average player. When as a third liner, he did okay in the playoffs. He was a flat out bust during the regular season that you gave a first-round draft pick for. All I know is Taylor Hall signs a 4-year deal, $6 million per, takes a $2 million a year pay cut to go back to Boston, right? What do you think, Kyle? Here's the thing. What's the one thing that Lou Lamoriello does? He overpays aged ham and eggers. That's what he does. And let's see, what's he going to give Casey Cizikas, right? 3.5, 4. Ooh. What are you going to give Kyle Palmieri? At least 5. Let's see if he gives him 5.5.
Okay. You are doing a lot of freaking jumping around, believing you are freaking Karnak the fortune teller, omnipotent, grumpy old man. I'm here to tell you, Grump, you're not. Grump, man, don't be watching the TV, Grump. I'm telling you, Grumpy, we've got items to talk about here, and no need to watch. You know, when we get the update about Jordan Eberle, what we had to give up, I heard we had to give up possibly Kiefer Bellows and a draft pick to get rid of Jordan Eberle. I was like, yikes. But we're not going to extend Kiefer Bellows. We're not going to extend Kyle Palmieri. We're not going to extend their Casey Cizikas to bad term deals. I really don't think that's the case.
Hold on. Have you not been looking at the Lou Lamoriello regime? They overpay and give too much term to every single washed up old timer on the roster. Every single one gets way too much money and way too much term. So what makes you think that's going to change? Because
if you haven't been paying attention, as of recent, when players are signing back, they're not signing the huge deals.
They don't sign for the Islanders. That's why. Why do you think all these old, washed-up veterans want to go to the Islanders? Because they know they're Islanders. They'll probably give us, I'm only getting $3 million here. I can get $15 a year if I go to the Islanders.
Stop.
Okay, like I said, I don't want to see, if it's true that we've given up Kiefer Bellows, that's a fail, a monumental fail. Right? So what are you going to do? Every year he has grand plans and they always fall through. I'm hoping that doesn't happen now. Is there a chance that it will happen? Absolutely. Okay,
they're going to make moves. Here's the thing. If you think next year we're going to go in with the same exact lineup minus Nick Leddy and Jordan Eberle, you're insane.
No, I think we'll add somebody. It'll be another old guy, another washed up player. They'll make the cursory attempt at Landeskog, won't get him. I'll just be interested. I'm interested to see what they do. But here's the thing.
You sound freaking absurd right now. You're jumping all over the place, man.
Okay. Landeskog is going back to Colorado. Book it.
Here's the item. I think we're going to target Tarasenko rather than Landeskog. I don't think Landeskog's coming here. I think we're going to target Tarasenko. I think this moving Jordan Eberle off the roster was part of this plan, because there's no way we're going to say, hey, Kyle Palmieri, now you're going to play on the first line. He didn't even play on the first line when we had all those injuries, right? We thought maybe we could slide him in there at the left wing position. It didn't work very well. I think he's going to be a third line right winger.
So you're gonna give a third line left winger,
right winger,
$4 or $5 million a year.
Hold on, where the hell are you getting this number? $4 or $5 million a year?
I'm just telling you that's what they're going to give him. If they sign him back, he's going to make money because it's what they do. They're clearing all this cap space to sign the Geezer squad back. I firmly believe that. Firmly believe it. Jeez. Absolutely. Here's the thing. Kyle Palmieri, if I'm Lou Lamoriello, I lost your number. I'm sorry. We're looking to improve the team.
Have you looked at what's out there in the free agent market there at right wing?
So make a trade. You're allowed to make trades.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You're not when you gave away all your assets to trade Andrew Ladd and get Jordan Eberle picked, get rid of Kiefer Bellows probably. I mean, we're going to find out in the next couple of days, but it's great to have salary cap. But you know what? I don't want them spending it on guys like Kyle Palmieri. I'm sorry.
Okay. As I've told you this before, you saw Taylor Hall take a pay cut. You saw Ryan Nugent-Hopkins take a pay cut. You're seeing every single one of these wingers and all these players who produce taking pay cuts. What in your right freaking mind would lead you to believe, grumpy old man, that Kyle Palmieri is going to get an increase? What would make you jump to that conclusion?
Lou Lamoriello's a GM. That's what he does. That's what he does. He overpaid.
Seriously, though, every single general manager is getting better players on the cheap. There's no way for you to think that because that is Lou Lamoriello has not read the newspaper. He hasn't gotten a telegram. He hasn't paid attention to what's going on the internet. He hasn't paid attention to all these players signing, for cheap across the NHL. And now all of a sudden he's going to decide to overpay Kyle Palmieri.
I feel here's the thing. If you give Kyle Palmieri $10, you're overpaying him. I don't want him. I don't want Kyle Palmieri on this team. He's part of the failed past. Let's move past. Let's put younger players, better players. That's who I want on this team, not ham and eggers who failed when they were with you the last year. Casey Cizikas, bye-bye. Sorry, I don't want a 30-year-old washed-up grinder who plays 10 minutes a night to get what, $3-4 million a year?
Okay, here's the thing. You're throwing out these arbitrary numbers with absolutely no, and I mean absolutely none, zero, grumpy old man, evidence to back up this thought process that they're going to get paid what type of dollar amount you're throwing on them. None.
Okay. You can say that now. Why don't you tell us about your take on John Cooper? On how, he was only, but you could see the writing on the wall, right? With John Cooper, and you can see the writing on the wall with this as well.
Are you trying to back up an absolutely hideous take that they're going to get paid 5 and 3+ by saying, hey, if I said John Cooper only won 1 Stanley Cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning, that he would be an overrated coach? Really?
Yeah, because I told you,
that awful take.
You told me, because most of your takes are awful. Okay. And that was just another one. So you're coming at me, well, how can you say this? Because I watch what Lou Lamoriello has done over the years. He overpays for everyone, particularly old guys. That's all I'm saying. So how much you think Kyle Palmieri should get? Because more money they clean off the cap. Lou, hey, I got plenty. Give it all out. Keep on giving it out. We're not going to improve. Let's bring the same guys back, same cast of characters.
You asked me a question. How much do you think Kyle Palmieri is going to get paid? I'm saying 3.5 to 4.
Wow.
Register. Okay. You watching TV, Grump? I'm telling you, man. Come on, let's engage, man.
They just showed Jordan Eberle. That's why I looked over.
Cool. Okay, Grump. Yeah, you asked me 3.5 to 4.
Okay, 3.5 to 4. I think you're way off. Okay. Well, okay. Here's the thing. He might get that from other teams. I'm going to guarantee you he gets at least $5 million from the Islanders, at least. And they'll look at it as a wash. Well, gosh, he made 5 last year. It's the same thing. We lost Jordan Eberle, bring him in 5. We save $500,000. And what do you think Casey's going to get?
I think Casey. Seriously, I think Casey's going to be around 2. I think they're going to pay. I think they're going to sign him for too long of a deal. That's the issue I have with Casey Cizikas. It's not the fact that they're going to overpay him. I think they're going to give him too much term. That's what I really believe is going to happen.
So you think it's going to be, but to sign the 2 of them, between $5.5 and $6 million. That's what you think?
Yes.
Okay. Let's bookmark this. highlight it because that'll be another epic fail take from TJ.
So, Grumpy, your projection, I say 5.5 to 6. You think that Casey Cizikas is
9. I think between the two of them, they're going to make between 8 and 9 million. That's what I think.
God almighty.
That's what I think. You watch per year. That's what I think they're going to make between the two of them, $8 and $9 million a year.
Jesus Christ, man, Grumpy. We can quibble about what they're going to re-sign for. We can't agree on this point. We freed up a lot of cap space. I don't think we're just coming out with the plan of re-signing everybody and saying we're going to roll the same roster out there we had last year.
I agree. And that's why I'm guarded in what I feel is going to happen because I'm happy that they've cut salary. As I said weeks ago, number one in the offseason, what do we have to do? We have to cut salary. Number one, get underneath that cap so we can make moves. When I'm saying making moves, I'm not saying generate enough income to sign our own guys back because that's not improving your team. You've lost Leddy, you've lost Eberle, and you've brought no one in. And if you sign Palmieri and Cizikas back, you still have not brought anyone in. Okay? So maybe they go after Landeskog. I think they have no shot of getting him. I'd love to see them get Tarasenko. But then let me ask you a question. Where is Jordan Eberle going to play if they bring in Vladdy Tarasenko?
We don't have Jordan Eberle.
I'm sorry, Kyle Palmieri.
Jesus Christ, Grumpy. Kyle Palmieri is going to play on a third line.
So where's Oliver Wahlstrom going to play?
He's going to play left wing. He played. Okay, look, he played left wing, and he played left wing a little bit there in the playoffs. Played left wing there again. He's malleable. He has played left wing there before. I think he's probably going to slide in your left wing.
For what line? You see what I'm saying?
I think they want Oliver Wahlstrom on a third line. You're not going to like the response, and I know Islander fans are not going to like the response. They want to see him out there on a top pairing on a top 6 role, but he's probably going to play on the third line.
So we're going to take a goal scorer, a guy who's a sniper. All he does is score, and we're going to bury him on the third line. That's smart. That's intelligent. Why not put him with the best player we have on our team? I don't know. Scared of scoring too many goals, perhaps?
They're afraid that we won't be defensively responsible enough. But again, who knows? Will Tarasenko be all that defensively responsible? I really do think that we are going to make moves. This is not the end. I heard from Coach Tommy Baffy. I know he's going live there after us here a little later on there tonight. Coach Tommy B said he heard from a few little birdies that they plan on moving Thomas Hickey as well as Leo Komarov off the roster here as well.
No loss there. What are they going to have to give up to lose them? Because no one wants them, so they're going to have to give up more assets. Let's see how many other young players we can give up to get rid of salary. Because guess what? The old guys on this team aren't worth shit. You can add them all up together and they're not worth anything. How do you know? Because you have to give away assets to unload them. Young guys. What do you think other players? What do you think other teams in the NHL want? Do they want guys in their 30s, mid-30s? Nope. They want younger players. That's what we should want to.
And to answer your question, Grumpy, there are a few players that we had to go ahead and remove off our team by pairing up with assets, whether that's draft pieces, whether that's young prospects. And again, just think about that. A guy, if we were to move Leo Komarov, we would have to give up either draft capital or prospects in order to move a player like that. And just let this sink in, guys. I know some members of the community, the Islanders community, said, hey, we stand by everything Barry threw out there. Leo was great on the first line because he added some gravity there. He added some equilibrium. They were really good against 5-on-5. They didn't give up many goals, blah, 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 etc. To think about it, you would have to probably give up an asset to get rid of Leo Komarov. Just let that sink in. He was your first line left winger last year for over half the year. Just let that sink in.
Yeah. I mean, I could have told you that, right? He didn't deserve to be on the first line. Why do we need that? Because Barry's too scared to play somebody under the age of 40. I mean, hey, Oliver Wahlstrom, I don't care if you're healthy. I don't care if you score goals, and we can't score any. I'm afraid to put you out there defensively. So we'll put a Travis Zajac, washed up 36-year-old. Leo Komarov, even more washed up. He's washed up, wrung out, washed out again. Put him on the first line. I mean, you get what you get. Getting rolled by Tampa Bay. That's what happened.
Yes, I hate when you do shit like that, Grumpy. Getting rolled by Tampa Bay. What? Grumpy, come on. They were not rolled by Tampa. They took them 7 games.
I don't care. They outscored us 21-11. They outscored us 21-11. You know what they call that? Getting rolled.
Jesus H. Oh my goodness. I will tell you one thing that's been unfortunate. And again, I guess my memory might be a little cloudy on the Vegas Golden Knights, but I don't remember before the actual expansion draft every single pick being known by the entire world. I thought there were a few picks where it's like, oh, that's a surprise. Nobody saw that coming there. I thought they kept things a little bit more under wraps, or maybe I'm forgetful. But I mean, every single pick was known this year before the actual expansion draft began. I mean, a little anticlimactic, isn't it?
True. I just don't think we know about the trade details for the Kraken to take certain players. And I think that'll come out in the next day or two, because I'm certain what happened is, okay, you want to protect this guy, you'll give us this, that, and the other thing. And I'm sure that's why they took Jordan Eberle, right? He's one of the highest salaried guys that they took, which means Lou gave away who knows what, but probably something pretty valuable. If you wanted them to take some salary, you should have protected all the young guys and exposed all the salary instead of giving away more assets. Again, it's just not smart. Why are you protecting Matt Martin and Cal Clutterbuck? It just makes no sense. If they want to take one of those guys off your roster, take them. I mean, who cares? You got to protect the younger players. They're the future of your team. I don't know. It's just frustrating. To me, the only way he can redeem himself is to get both Landeskog and Tarasenko. Then I'm like, okay, we had a good offseason. Because right now, we have just subtracted from our lineup and added no one. For everyone is saying, Lou Lamoriello, look at the financial gymnastics he did. Well, sure he did. He traded away our future to get rid of some salary cap. And it's all because of the salary cap issues he put us in with some of the guys he signed. That's why we're in the salary cap situation. You can complain all you want about Leddy and Ladd's contracts, but it's the Nelson, Eberle, Lee, Komarov. Those are the contracts that hurt us, not the ones that Garth Snow signed, the ones that he signed.
Well, okay, the Garth Snow contracts didn't help. But yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I'm not saying over here some of those contracts that, he signed, like the Jordan. We never could have predicted that the cap was going to stay flat, right? There's certain things we couldn't have foreseen. We never would have foreseen. But yeah, that was technically the Jordan Eberle contract was one that he signed. And, you look at it and they'll say, oh, the Islanders have now cleared $16.5 million worth of cap. And I'm like, yeah, that is true. I just kind of wonder what it's going to take to sign back some of these players. After seeing that, right, we think, how much is Anthony Beauvillier going to make? If Taylor Hall signed a 4-year, $6 million deal, you have to think, I mean, Anthony Beauvillier might be signing 4 years, 3.5, 4 years, 4. I would be shocked if he signed anything more than $4 million a year. You can get him with some term for a $4 million deal, which makes it much more appealing, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's what you should do. But here's the thing. What's he going to do? He's probably going to go maybe 2 years on Beauvillier, right?
Why? Okay.
Well, I mean, what do you say? Why? I mean, what's the matter?
2 years.
You're exasperated over it.
Okay, I know I said last podcast I wouldn't sign him long term. When you're seeing guys, right? Taylor Hall, I know you're not a big fan of him. I know a lot of Islander fans are not a big fan of him. Ex-Hart Trophy winner. Right? That guy got paid $6 million a year. And trust me, right? He had a bad first half of the year, kind of turned it on there with Boston, played really well. If he's getting a 4-year deal, $6 million per, Anthony Beauvillier's never had the accolades or the performance like Taylor Hall has in the past. I don't think it's crazy to think you can get him on a very comparable deal minus, about $1 million or $2 million extra a year. I think it would be very reasonable to say, Anthony Beauvillier, you saw what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins did. You're seeing here what Taylor Hall did. You're young still left. If you sign a 4-year deal or something manageable, you're going to be right around 28. You're going to be around the prime of your career after a 4-year deal expires. And again, if you go ahead and take the next step, which we believe you can, you're able to really cash in at that point. Whether it's with us, awesome. If not, you're able to go ahead and get paid after that point. But I think you're going to be able to get him on a cheaper deal than I originally had anticipated last podcast.
Okay. He could probably do that, or he'll give him just enough term to get him right to unrestricted free agency, which is always a bad move. Get ready, Ryan Pulock's leaving after next year. And let's say, but okay, you're saying, well, this guy took this, that guy took that. I'm going to tell you what, you're going to be stunned with how much money he gives Kyle Palmieri to come back. Stunned. And you're going to go crazy. I'm already going crazy just thinking about it.
Okay. You are crazy. There's a difference, Grumpy. You're going crazy thinking about it because you're insane. You're freaking insane, Grumpy. You're thinking that Kyle Palmieri is going to get paid $5 million a year.
I don't think he's taking a pay cut.
If you've got Grumpy Old Man's address, go ahead and send the authorities to him immediately. He needs to be institutionalized immediately.
Okay.
$5 million a year. Get out of here.
Okay. 4.5. He's not going to take the haircut that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins did and Taylor Hall did. That much. Not if he signs with the Islanders. If he has to sign somewhere else, yes. But not here. Not here, because Lou loves to pay those old guys lots of money.
Okay, so
he signed Leo freaking Komarov for $3 million a year. He wasn't worth a bag of nickels, and he got $3 million a year for 4 years with a no-move clause. That's what he got. A guy who couldn't get off the bench in Toronto signs a 4-year, $12 million contract with a no-move clause. Think about that.
Okay, I want to ask you this question. Now that we've seen a mass amount of cap has been cleared and a mass amount of cap has been made available for the Islanders, what do you think is going to happen next, Grumpy? Because we've lost Jordan Eberle. It looks to be that we've lost Kiefer Bellows. Again, we'll get into the Kiefer Bellows issue debacle from the start here. Again, a young prospect who excelled there in his limited time on the first line. We'll talk about that. We're going to touch on it later. But what do you realistically think is going to happen in this offseason? We've cleared now over $16 million in cap space. And we had the additional $6 million that we can go over from Johnny Boychuk. So right now, what we're sitting about with like 20 plus million.
Okay. Yeah. I can pull it up in a second, but let me go on my point here. Right now, all you need for this lineup is a second pair defenseman, left-hand defenseman, and a right wing. That's all you need. Unless you move other guys out. We know they're going to re-sign Casey Cizikas, so that means the fourth line stays the same. Third line, you have Wahlstrom, you have J.G. Pajot, and maybe your pal Kyle Palmieri, right?
Yeah. Second
line, the same guys as before. You got Kroc, Bailey, and Beauvillier. Then you're going to roll out Lee, Barzal, and somebody on the front line. So that's all you need. So what do you need? I'm sorry?
Said front line, like you're making an advertisement there for the dog, removing of fleas and from dogs and cats, Grumpy. The front line.
It's also a war term, the front line.
The front line.
Okay. The alleged goal scoring line, right? So who do you bring in? First of all, Kyle Palmieri, I've lost your number. I'm going after a bigger fish. I'm willing to make a trade for Tarasenko. I'm willing to do that. But when you have all this cap money, unless you're making some drastic changes, you're going to have too much money, which tells me you're going to overpay guys. And if you want to overpay guys, then you're stuck in the same boat. And that'd be another mistake.
So you think they're going to overpay players?
I absolutely do, for certain. If they don't make a trade for somebody, they will overpay players to get them to go there.
So you think they're going to overpay players and not make any moves this offseason? I want to know what you think is going to happen in the offseason. You think we're not going to make any moves additionally. We're just going to bring in the same exact guys and just roll them out there.
I think he'll try to I think they will sign a veteran defenseman, maybe an Alec Martinez. But if you're giving him $5 million, what did you do a year? What did you do? You just flipped him for Nicoletti. That's all you did.
Hey, you think, hold on, what veteran defenseman you think you're going to bring in that's going to get paid $5 million?
I think every veteran defenseman that they bring in, they're going to have to pay that type of money for. That's what I think. You're looking, Olesiak just signed $4.6 million a year, right? So what do you think Alec Martinez, two-time Stanley Cup winner who was on pace for a 50-point season last year, what do you think he's going to get?
Maybe we're not going to go, here's something you're not going to like. And again, I don't think Sutter is a great fit here, but maybe we're going to look at Ryan Suter.
Okay, he's going to command money like that too.
Okay. You think Ryan Suter is going to get paid? You think he's going to want? I think he's going to want term. Is what he's going to want. That's the thing that scares me about him. He's a 36-year-old defenseman who wants term. That's what I don't want. If he's willing to be reasonable and he's willing to take a short-term deal, I'm all for it.
But he's going to get more than that anywhere else. He's going to get 4 years anywhere he goes.
A 36-year-old defenseman is going to get 4 years,
and he's going to get money. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get 4 for 4 per. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, and then what's the other?
I think you're looking at it as if the cap continues to increase every year. Like when I see Carlo getting paid, nickels. I don't think Ryan Suter is going to get paid 4-year deal for $4 million per.
Okay, I mean, I just want you to realize all these things you're saying, because I'm going to have to make mental notes of TJ thinking everyone's going to sign for 2 cents on the dollar. It's not going to happen if they sign for the Islanders. All these other teams are able to sign their guys back for short money. All of them. That's not been the way the Islanders do it. They signed Matt Martin back last year with the flat cap for $1.5 million a year. They could have just given him vet minimum. That's all they had to give him.
You saw the way that deal was structured, right? Do I have to revisit this with you? The deal was structured, grumpy old man, to where the first 2 years, it was not advantageous to go ahead and move him down to the minors. But if you move him down to the A after the 2 years, the first 2 years, which would be after this year, he almost costs you like half of that, or $500,000 a year. So it's essentially, it's not an issue.
But he's counting.
You can bury him there in yay after next year without having to worry too much about a cap repercussions.
But and for these first 2 years, he counts 1.5 against the cap in a flat cap. You could have given him vet minimum and given him meet some bonuses like they did with Andy Green. They gave Andy Green $750,000, and then he makes 1.3 in bonuses.
Okay, right? Hold on. The bonuses count against the cap, no?
Next year. They count. Andy Green's bonuses from last year counts towards this year.
Okay, so you're now suggesting that we should have actually paid him more by giving him the bonus incentive?
Give him $750. Give him $750.
Are you really quibbling over a $1.5 million contract? We signed Ross Johnson to a $1 million a year contract, and the guy never freaking plays. We signed Thomas Hickey to a contract where we're paying him $2.5 million, and he never plays. Never has since he signed that contract. And we got injured and banged up in the A. But I mean, you're arguing about pennies.
Thanks for proving my point on us overpaying guys who we don't even play in our own system. You just proved my point. And then you asked me why I feel that we're going to overpay for guys, going into this offseason. Because we do it every single year. Why? We did it last year with the flat cap. We did the same thing last year with the flat cap. Same thing. And what did we do to get underneath the cap? We trade away a young puck-moving defenseman. Who did we trade away this year? The guy that we kept last year over the young guy, who signed for 4.1 a year, which is less than what Leddy makes. But they wouldn't trade Leddy last year. Why not? Because Barry Trotz likes him. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. At some point in time, you got to say, guess what, Barry? I'm giving you the players I want you to give. Do your job and coach them up. That's your job. I'm going to put the team together. You coach it up. You're not involved in player personnel decisions. You know who else shouldn't be involved in player personnel decisions? Average Anders Lee. That's who.
God almighty. Grumpy. You're giving me a migraine. Grump.
I'm just afraid. I'm afraid.
You're afraid, and here you are jumping to conclusions, right? We cleared off this cap. We didn't clear off this much cap to say, well, everybody else is getting paid they're getting paid below market value because the cap is staying flat. We feel like now we have to overpay all of our players. I just think that's, Grumpy, you make a lot of good points. I just think that's one of the weakest points you've ever made here on the show.
I didn't say we had to. I just said I think that's what we're going to do.
I think it's a real weak point for you to jump to that conclusion thinking we're going to overpay everybody. Why do you think we're going to overpay? Just because we have in the past. Nobody's getting paid this year. Nobody's getting paid. You can pull out one anecdote. But look at this. As a whole, players are getting underpaid for what their value is.
I just think if you don't learn from the past, I mean, that's just what he does. That's just what he does.
That is a really good point, Grumpy old man. You have now swayed my opinion. That's just what he does.
You don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. Hey. That's all I'm saying. It's one of those old terms. You don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Jesus, Grumpy.
And I'm hoping he doesn't do that. But when you triggered me by saying we're guaranteed we're going to sign Kyle Palmieri back.
Hey, hold on. Because we are.
Well, then guess what? We don't need anybody else. Because then the whole band is back together. Then the whole band is back together.
What do you mean we don't need anybody else? What do you
Who else do we need?
Mind with this right now.
Who else do we need? We have our
first line right winger.
That's going to be Kyle Palmieri.
How many more freaking times do I have to tell you this? Grumpy old man. Kyle Palmieri is going to be signed back for a deal that's not $5 million like you think it is. And he's going to play on the third line. Okay, Grumpy? You're going to have Oliver Wahlstrom, whether you fans want to hear it or not, whether you want to hear it or not, he's going to play on the third line as a left winger. So guess what? It means we still need a defenseman, a veteran defenseman, and we still need a first line right winger.
Like I said, that'll be Kyle Palmieri. He'll be your first line. He'll be your first. That's who they're going to sell. They're going to sell Kyle Palmieri as the first line right winger. That's what they're going to sell. And then they're going to keep averages coming back, right? Averages coming back. Now our first line is going to be great. Going to be great. It's still the helicopter line. Okay? That's what it is.
So you think – so who's going to magically play third line right wing?
They can put Wahlstrom over there again, stunt his development, and then just get some cheap free agent ham and egg or hack to play left side. And then your whole lineup's complete. You don't need anybody else.
Like when you make comments like this, Grumpy, usually we have good discussions, and it's tough today for you, man, because I just think you're really underselling what he's trying to do here. When you're hearing rumors that yes, Hickey as well as Komarov are going to be moved, we've cleared off a little over $16 million in cap space, and we're giving up players to move off. We have moved. I just want you guys to think about this, right? And people, to be fair and honest here, people are giving a lot of credit to Lou. Oh my God, he has cleared off $16 million in cap space over the last 5 days. This is outstanding. Out of that $16 million he's cleared off, we've lost a top line right winger, a top 3 on our team, first line right winger. We've lost a top 4 defenseman and a guy who was deadweight. And again, we wound up getting it back, and we wound up having essentially to give up a second and a conditional third round pick.
I'm sorry, I forgot about Richard Panik. This lineup is already set. We're not going to make any moves. I totally forgot about him. There you go. There's your third line, right wing, left wing, right there. Richard Panik. There you go. We don't need to sign anybody. This offseason's over. It's over. And we forgot about the draft picks we gave up too, and probably Kiefer Bellows and more draft picks. Here's the thing. I want him to make moves. But right now, we have too many guys under contract, unless he moves some out, too many guys under contract for us to acquire someone else. If you sign back a Kyle Palmieri. Kyle Palmieri should not even be an option. He should be, if everyone else turns us down, we'll go for Kyle Palmieri. That should be the way they think.
What should be the issue with having Richard Panik as a depth piece and then having Oliver Wahlstrom play third line left wing, and then bringing in a guy like Tarasenko on the right wing? Again, he is going to be traded for pennies. I honestly believe that. They had teams that were interested there in him. I'm hearing, again, this coach Tommy B, he's got a pulse on what's going on. He's saying that, again, it's between us and the Flyers as to who's really interested in beating down the door of Tarasenko. Vladdy Tarasenko, as you call him. Vladdy.
I want Tarasenko on this team. But if Tarasenko's on this team, I don't want Palmieri.
Why not?
Why would I want him? Why would I want him? He's not a third-line winger. He was absolutely freaking invisible during the regular season. Absolutely invisible. Invisible.
What did he do in the playoffs where it mattered the most?
Let's
flip the wording on that. What did he do in the playoffs where the tensions and the magnitude of everything was heightened? What did he do in the most important moments?
In the most important moments, you mean not against Tristan?
No.
He was in that. He disappeared. That's what
I said. What? So in the playoffs in general, how many goals did he score? Do you happen to remember that, Grumpy?
I think he scored 7.
Yeah. 7 goals. What was it? 20 some odd games for a guy that was playing on a third line.
Well, he was all over the place. He played a lot of power play too. Here's the thing: how many goals did he score against Tristan Jarry?
Yeah, it's official. The Islanders have had Jordan Eberle selected. The pick just came in.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I like Jordan Eberle, But you know what? At the end of the day, it's about dumping salary cap. The team must get better. The team must get better. And that's all I care about. And if it means we have to sacrifice a Nick Leddy and a Kyle Palmieri, it is what it is. I just don't want to bring the same guys back because that you're just treading water then or going backwards.
Well, Grumpy, I'm going to go ahead and show you this here. Jordan Eberle's contract. I'll add this here to the stream. He absorbed roughly about 6.7% there of the cap. That's now additionally been freed. Again, still had 2 years left on that, or is it 3 years left?
He's got 3 years left.
Okay. We cleared out Jordan Eberle, 31-year-old, who still had 3 years left on the deal. And again, we've got a lot of cap there to play around with. I'm going to bring that up again. I'm just very interested to see what pick we had to give up. You know, is it a second-round pick we also had to give up to get rid of Jordan Eberle in addition to Kiefer Bellows? Or are we talking about maybe a fifth or a sixth or seventh? I'm not sure. From what I understand, the asking price was quite significant if you wanted teams to take a certain member off of your organization and club that made a significant amount of cap.
Well, see, that's my issue. That's my issue.
We don't know yet. So how can you say it's your issue? We have no freaking idea.
Okay, but did you need to give up assets when you'd already cleared a bunch of cap space off? Did you need to give up more young players? I mean, in retrospect, you're looking at what they did with Seattle. Was that worth it, giving up first-round picks and all these other things so that they wouldn't take Calvin DeHaan? In essence, that's the player they wanted.
Seattle. You meant Vegas. Stop.
Vegas. Yeah, okay. Right. But
I'm asking you to stop. Like your thoughts, Grumpy. Now, with Vegas, completely different. We missed out on Vegas, right? We gave up Berube. We gave up a first-round pick, if I remember correctly, so they wouldn't select Calvin DeHaan, who was going in a contract year. He had 1 year left on the contract, and he wound up getting hurt. I think he injured his shoulder, and he signed in the free agency with Carolina right after that. So, yeah, that was not a good move, what we did there with Vegas, right? But we wanted to protect certain players. You complain all the time that this team needs to make the next step. And you're saying, why do we have to give up more young players and draft capital there to free up additional cap? It's because they're trying to make a big move. They're not just going to sit on their hands and say, yeah, we're going to roll out the same exact team. You have been complaining this entire time, all offseason long, that we need to do something that's going to go ahead and elevate our game to the next level. And now they're clearing the cap space to do so, and you're still bitching and complaining. That's where I'm having a hard time understanding where your thought process is, Grumpy.
No, I'm happy. I just hope that they actually do something. When you mentioned Kyle Palmieri, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Kyle Palmieri's of the world. If you want to free up the money and go and get a big fish or two, then I'm 100% in for it. But just signing the same guys back, I'm not behind that.
Okay. So what's the issue with them bringing back Kyle Palmieri and bringing in a big fish?
Because I want a big fish.
Stop. Does that not add more depth to your team?
More depth in the 30s? Guys in their 30s? I don't want depth like that. You let the young guys play. That's why you have young guys on your team, to break them in. I don't want Kyle Palmieri's. I don't want the Kyle Palmieri's of the world. I didn't want Taylor Hall. I don't want those guys.
You know what we should have done? If we have an injury, let's say, we don't bring back Kyle Palmieri, we bring in Tarasenko. You know what happens if Tarasenko re-injures his shoulder or it gets, banged up? We should just promote Simon Holmstrom. He's a young guy. He's a right wing. He's a young guy playing on our first line down there in Bridgeport. We should just elevate Simon Holmstrom because we wouldn't notice any drop-off at all because Simon Holmstrom is the next Gretzky, Grumpy, right?
Did we notice any drop-off when Anders Lee went out? We just slid Leo Komarov in there, and we did the same as we did the year before. Same results. This team is not dependent on individuals to win games. To win championships, you got to get better players. If you want to win championships, you can't roll out this lineup. You must add somebody to supplement Matt Barzal. I'd love to call a team Matty, Vladdy, and the Jags. That would be even better. I'd love to do that. The Matty and Vladdy show.
The Matty and Vladdy show. Jesus Christ. So, it's funny, right? Because you just cannot, you have your lack of faith. I mean, zero faith in Lou to make a step to make our team more on an elite caliber it's hard to believe. You just think he's going to screw anything up, but he's been doing everything you've asked him for this offseason. You've always asked him, you need to get rid of some of the old guys. You need to go ahead and clear off some of those old guys. So we get rid of 30-year-old Nick Leddy. We get rid of 33, 34-year-old Andrew Ladd, who sucks up a whole bunch of cap. We get rid of 31-year-old Jordan Eberle. We're clearing off some of that, and
I'm happy with that.
Okay.
I
And
just
here
want
you are, and you're thinking, can you not see what's ahead?
here's
That's
the thing.
having a difficult time. Do you not see what's ahead?
Well, here's the thing. I do see what's ahead. If we're resigning the Kyle Palmieris and the Casey Zizikases of the world, we're going to overpay to keep them. Okay. What we need to do is those guys, I'm sorry. You know what? Your service, not Palmieri, but Casey, your service has been appreciated. We're trying to upgrade. We want to upgrade our team. We don't want to make it the same team and add one player. But I mean, we need a sniper on that first line. My personal first line would be Barzal, Wahlstrom, and Tarasenko. I'd absolutely love that first line. I would love that first line. Boy, would they be fun to watch. Barry would have an aneurysm on the bench. That would be fun to watch too, honestly. Watch him pass out. Hey, Barry, give him the smelling salts to wake him up. Yeah, they gave up a chance. I know they scored 5 goals today, but they gave up 2 chances. We can't have that. I mean, that's just the way I feel. And Kyle Palmieri, sorry. He's going to get overpaid.
Jesus Christ. And you say that shit, Grumpy. Here's the thing, right? I need to hold your feet to the fire because when he doesn't get overpaid, you just have been spouting off nonsensical comments all the first 50 minutes of this podcast.
That's fine.
Kyle Palmieri's going to. Grumpy, I want you to up it. You think Kyle Palmieri, you know what? Maybe I'm coming around to you, Grumpy. I think Kyle Palmieri might make $6 million a year.
I don't think he'll make 6.
Playoffs.
I bet if he signs with the Islanders, he'll probably make 4.5, 5.
I'm going to up it. I think he's more valuable. Maybe $7 million.
Okay. Well, you'd probably be wrong, as usual. You were the one who was telling me 3.5 tops.
Can you not, hold on.
$2
Can you not catch any sarcasm in that at all?
No sarcasm. That's the way you feel.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Grumpy. Man, oh man, Grumpster. You're killing me today. You're killing me.
I'm just saying. Here's the thing. I want them to make moves.
They've done everything you've wanted to. They've cleared cap space, and they're not just going to say, let's re-sign everybody back and then roll them out there. They're not going to do that. Do you realistically think that Lou Lamoriello and Barry Trotz are going to say, this team was close. We've made it to the Eastern Conference Finals in back-to-back years, 6 and 7 game series against the Tampa Bay Lightning. What we need to do to get our team to take the next steps is we need to have the same exact team we had out there last year, except we're going to take away our top line right winger, and we're going to go ahead and subtract the top 4 defensemen. Do you really think that's the game plan they have going into next year?
That sounds entirely feasible to me.
Jesus Christ.
No, they'll bring somebody in. They'll bring a veteran in to play defense. They will. They absolutely will, because they won't give it to a young guy. Won't do it. And they're going to roll out Andy Green. He's going to play every game. Scott Mayfield, Noah Dobson, we're going to shelter you again, Noah. In big situations, you're going to sit. And they'll bring in a veteran. They will. Probably. And I'd love to see them bring in Alec Martinez. I've always liked him. I don't want to see Suter. I do not want to see him. And then you got one more year of Ryan Pulak, and Adam Pelech will resign. That's what you'll have on defense. Okay? Goaltender situation. How much you think Sorokin should get? I wouldn't give him more than 4. But they will.
I think probably around 4 is a little more reasonable. And again, it depends on how long he signs. If he's signing, a shorter deal, or deal with, let's say even a middle bit, maybe he's signing a 3 or 4 year deal. Maybe he's going to sign a deal until Varlamov has 1 year left in his contract, or until Varlamov is gone, or until Varlamov's contract expires. And that's when he'll have his contract, his contract expire, so he can then sign and get more money. I don't think it's crazy to think that might happen.
That's fine. We're going to find out. We'll find out. And then you hear rumors they're looking to potentially move Anthony Beauvillier. Why? Is he too young? Why? And then you hear Zach Parise. Do you want any piece of Zach Parise? That would not shock me to see that be our big. Let's sign Zach Parise. Put him on the first line. He's 36.
Where would he play? You were going to demote Anders Lee?
He'll be first. He's a right wing. Does he play right wing?
He's left wing. What's
the difference? With him, it doesn't matter. He's finished. Doesn't matter. He can't play left or right anymore. He's done. Toast.
Jesus Christ. Anyway,
I forgot to bring out my toast today.
Grumpy.
We got any comments today? Here we go.
We're moving right along. I know, Grump, you're killing me. Brian J, they're saying, glad you guys are doing the draft. Yeah, I was too until Grumpy started with me today. I say one thing about how the Islanders are definitely going to sign back Kyle Palmieri, and it's send him in a tizzy. An absolute tizzy.
All I'm saying is if you're signing back the Kyle Palmieris of the world, that's a fail of an offseason. You should be shooting higher than him. That's all I'm saying. Way higher than him. That's why you have this cap space.
Well, Grumpy Old Man, I'm sure, as you know, Jordan Eberle, a huge fan of the show. He listens to every single minute of every single podcast. He actually gets updates as soon as we go live. I saw him checking his phone up there on stage, so I know he was watching this show. Grumpy, I want you to give Jordan Eberle a farewell. I want you to tell him a heartfelt farewell to Mr. Jordan Eberle.
Jordan Eberle, when you were traded for Ryan Strome, everyone said you could not play defense. You never could. All you do are just a me guy. And I think you proved everyone wrong while you were here. Were you the greatest right winger of all time? No. But you subjugated your offensive game like everybody has to do under Barry Trotz. And somehow you were still able to succeed to a certain level. And farewell. You and your $5.5 million can go be with the Kraken. Bye-bye.
I know Jordan Eberle is going to take that, and he's going to be so enthralled there that the Grumpy Old Man spoke so nicely of him. And again, these are not things that Grumpy hasn't said a million times before. Jordan Eberle is a guy who, think about it, he joined us when we were during some of the dark time periods. If you remember, you tick the clock back, and we all thought, hey, we fleeced Edmonton. And again, like Ryan Strome, don't even get me started how we mismanaged Ryan Strome. That being said, at the time period, we brought in Jordan Eberle, a guy who had excelled there in Edmonton. Again, never really did a great job there on the defensive side of the puck. That was always the biggest knock on him. And he really went ahead and he subjugated his game and changed up his game, just as you said, Grumpy Old Man, to play more of a defensive focus, which is something that I didn't think he would have done. I was shocked by it as well. And I wish him nothing but success and luck.
Yeah, anyone who leaves, let me tell you something. Every player who plays on the Islanders is a good guy. They don't bring in bad guys, at least not since Lou and Barry have been here. They don't bring in any bad character types. They're all good guys, and I wish them all well. But, sometimes you have to move on from older players who make too much money. We're going to have that issue for the next few years. It is what it is. But, Jordan, thank you once again, and help us with the salary cap by moving on to the Kraken. Unfortunately, I think we traded assets, which maybe we didn't need to do.
Well, we needed to if we wanted to take Eberle. And again, it was quite obvious that the reason we're trading Eberle is because we want that first line right wing position open and available to move somebody else into that role. That being said, it's funny, right? I've been thinking this entire expansion draft that this is different than the Vegas Golden Knights expansion draft. And maybe I thought when the Vegas Golden Knights had their draft, I thought this was going to be a team that was going to struggle for a while. I looked at who Seattle picked up. I just don't think Seattle's going to have the instantaneous success that the Vegas Golden Knights did.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of trades with Seattle. I still feel that. And I just don't think we've seen them yet. That's all. They're not. This is the lineup that they picked tonight is not going to be their opening night lineup. That much I can guarantee you.
All I'm saying is I don't think we're going to see the instantaneous success that we did in the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights made it to the Stanley Cup Finals the first year round.
Hey. They won't. You're right. You're right there. I agree with you. Hey, I hate to do it, TJ, but I agree with you on that.
You hate to agree with a common sense point. I know, Grumpy. It's something you struggle with and hate.
Not true, but usually you're wrong on everything. So I hate to agree with you because then I might be wrong.
Oh, Jesus H. Eli said, everyone was leaked already, kind of ruins the fun of the draft. But, hey, we're still here to see the side deals that were made. And that's the biggest looming question. What pick did the Islanders have to give up along? And again, I will say, I know I'm throwing, hey, Kiefer Bellows is gone. I've seen some people say absolutely not. He's not gone yet. I've seen some people say for certain he's gone. So, no idea.
Yeah, I just hope I just don't believe in giving up the young players to keep older guys. I mean, you want to have a steady transition away from the older roster to the younger guys. I just don't think you gave up on a first-round draft pick who's 23 years old and has proven that he could be a goal scorer. I mean, and that's if he goes. I just think that's a mistake.
Ariel C. Grumpy. Hey, Grumpy, I got this for you. What do you think the chances of us landing a big fish are that now Eberle was picked? The grumpy old man seems to poo-poo it, thinks we're just going to sign that same exact crew, thinks there's a 0.0000% chance we're going to bring in any big fish. If you heard him tonight, I said one comment that means we're probably going to sign back Kyle Palmieri. And grumpy old man is over here saying, let's bring Scott Stevens out of retirement there to play defense for us.
Okay. I hope that we try to land a big fish. We have the wherewithal to do it. Will we do it? I don't know. What is St. Louis going to ask for Tarasenko? I don't know. I know he wants out of there. I mean, if you're giving a whole lot of extra parts to Seattle, what are you going to have left to give to St. Louis to get Tarasenko?
Okay, I don't think Tarasenko is going to cost a lot. He has absolutely no want to go back and play for St. Louis. And I mean,
but St. Louis still thinks that they're in a winning. They think that they're in a win now cycle. And I don't know if we have anybody else we can move.
Really? Okay, here's my question. They might say they think they're in a win now cycle. They just gave up a guy who's a top 4 defenseman for them in Vince Dunn for nothing. You think that's a win now mentality?
Well, he's a 24-year-old restricted free agent. That's the guy I would have picked if I was Seattle, and that's who they did pick. And I mean, so obviously they didn't feel they had to make a side deal to get them to take Tarasenko. They just said, you know what, take whoever you want. And that's the thing, right? You put these lists together. You should put your best 10 players out there, or the guys who are your future players. You never protect the Matt Martin and the Cal Clutterbuck. It's just dumb. That's really, really dumb. And what if somebody takes them? Well, so then they take a guy in his mid-30s. So what? Your team's not going to be harmed by losing the number 15 guy on your roster.
I'm going to ask you again. So you think they're not going to be? You think they're still, even though, hey, we've again, like I know that the Blues have some pieces like Parayko, etc. They've got some defensive pieces there on it. But do you really think letting Vince Dunn walk was them saying, hey, we're still pushing there? And again, they're going to move a guy like Tarasenko. Do you realistically think, hey, they're still trying to push, or you think it's a little bit more of we're kind of half betting that we're still competitors, but we're half betting that we're not?
They feel that, from what I heard, they feel like they're in still winning competition, winning mode right now, all in right now. And that's why I thought they wanted Eberle. But now with Eberle gone, I don't know who we can offer them who fits that, unless you're trading somebody else off of your main roster. I don't know who could fit that role for them. I don't know who.
Okay. So going to bring back to the main point. We lost guys who can contribute and can make immediate impact. Do you think maybe they don't think they're as much of a win now mode team as you think? Maybe they're thinking we'd still like to be competitive, but we understand the ramifications that maybe we can't be as competitive as we think. So maybe we need to be kind of in the middle.
Well, then they would have just protected 8 skaters and kept Vince Dunn, right? If that's what they thought. Because you let go of a 24-year-old restricted free agent who played top 4 minutes for you, and you let him go.
Again, he played 19 some odd minutes a game, so he's on the cusp of being a top 4 defenseman.
He was a top 4 defenseman for them. He was.
Okay. That being said, there, Adam S says, goodbye, Eberle. Good luck. I'm sure Grump is thrilled with $23 million in cap space. No, as shocking as it may sound, Grumpy doesn't seem very thrilled because he's afraid that Lou Lamoriello is going to go ahead and spend like a drunken sailor. So even when things look sunny and bright, grumpy old man is still walking. You ever see the cartoon, ladies and gentlemen, to where it's sunny outside, it's sunny in 75. It's like, everybody's bopping around, having a good old time. You and me, we're smiling, saying, hey, the Islanders have $23 million in cap space. We're dancing around. We're, side shuffling, and grumpy old man, he's just walking with his shoulders shrugged, and he's got a little tiny rain cloud over him. It's just raining over. He's like, it's so dark and gloomy out here. It's so rainy. That's what grumpy old man is.
Okay. No. So you're totally mischaracterizing my point.
What?
I am ecstatic that we have $23 million in cap space. Absolutely ecstatic. What I don't want to see us do is just re-sign our guys. That's what I don't want to see. That's the one thing I don't want to see, because then you're not making your team better. That's the whole crux to my argument.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you listening to that? I think I did a perfect representation. I just said everything's happy, everybody's happy, 23 million cap space, but you're still thinking he's going to spend like a drunken sailor and sign back some of the old guys and maybe make a big fish come in. So you just got a rain cloud over you. I think that was a perfect representation. Maybe I'm just crazy. I think leave it in the comment section below. I think I did a good job representing that. We'll move right along there. Alon A there says first Letty, next lad, now Eberle. Grumpy and I must be on cloud 9. Question is, who plays alongside Barzal? Who is our second pairing defenseman edition? Could Bellows play along Jean-Gabriel Pageau and Wally? Well, I think, unfortunately, Bellows was included in the deal. And again, Grumpy, we're on cloud 9. I think Grumpy's in the rainstorm.
No, I'm not. I'm happy we got rid of the money. I just don't want us. Okay, see, here's the thing. You're playing checkers and I'm playing chess. I'm 10, 15 moves ahead of you.
You're playing chess right now. You know what I'm playing, grumpy old man? I don't even know what game's above chess. If you want to say you're playing chess, I'm playing 10 games of chess at the same time, Grumpy. I don't know. You're stuck on this level. I'm up here, Grumpy. What can I say, huh?
You're playing marbles and I'm playing 3D chess.
I'm playing marbles and you're playing jacks, right?
I'm absolutely ecstatic that we have the cap money and we moved out the old guys. Now the next step is improving the team with better talent. And that doesn't mean bringing back the same guys, bringing back the same core guys. That's all I'm saying. So you're mischaracterizing once again what I'm actually saying. I want the Tarasenkos. I would love to see Tarasenko and Landeskog on this team.
Okay, you want the Tarasenkos. You have said you don't think that's going to happen, though.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
No. You just said if you had to go to Vegas, Grumpy, you put money on that's going to happen or not happen. The way you're talking, you think it's not going to happen. If you are a 50-50 guy, you think they're not bringing in a big fish.
I think
you're afraid that they're going to overpay Kyle Palmieri and pay him on the first line. So you would say if we're going to Vegas and we had a 50-50 odd, we had to bet one way or the other, you would say we're not going to bring in the big fish.
No, you started the whole thing. You started the whole thing by saying that they're automatically bring back Kyle Palmieri. That's what set me off. Okay. That's what set me off because I don't want to see Kyle Palmieri here because that gives them an excuse not to get someone good or to try to just go after Landeskog. And here's the thing. Landeskog's not leaving Colorado.
Okay, then stop saying that. I told you again. I don't care what people are throwing out there saying we're bringing Landeskog. I think I'm more likely we're bringing in a right winger. I'm just saying we're bringing back Kyle Palmieri. And I think this means he's going to play on our third line. Don't think that we're bringing back Kyle Palmieri. We're going to throw him onto the first line. That's not what's going to happen. We're going to bring back Kyle Palmieri. He's going to be cheaper than what you believe. And then we're going to have space. We're going to have the ability to do something there for a Tarasenko. Okay. Anyway, we're moving right along there. Brett Let's Go Islanders of Net Threads says, happy draft day, everyone. Great to see you guys again. Let's go Islanders forever.
I'm cool with that.
Scott L said, love the countdown music. Appreciate that, Scott. Coach Tommy B said, oh no, grumpy old man's dream of Bailey gone is over. I was about to say, I know you said you were going to go ahead and get a Josh Bailey Seattle Kraken t-shirt. Well, by them selecting Jordan Eberle, they just lost a sale. They just lost $100 off of a sale from the grumpy old man from a Josh Bailey embroidered Seattle Kraken jersey.
Here's the thing. They had a chance to take Josh Bailey, and they wouldn't do it. Even they know that he's not worth it. He's not worth even writing his name on a piece of paper to send to the NHL front office.
Stop.
Maybe they could move Josh Bailey to get Vladdy Tarasenko. That I would buy into.
Jesus Christ. Then I'm moving Josh Bailey, okay?
Bailey's not going anywhere. He does whatever they say. Hey, Josh, go clean out the toilet stalls. Okay. Whatever.
Okay.
Replace the urinal cakes. Okay.
Alexander said there, I honestly wanted them to take Bailey over Eberle so we can use Eberle as trade bait.
That to me would have been a good move. That would have been nice. And to use Eberle to get Tarasenko. I would have totally bought into that.
Do you want to hear the worst case scenario of what I think? This is an absolute doomsday. If this happens, grumpy old man. You ever seen the movie, what the hell movies? Inside Out, where they have different people controlling different parts of the brain. They're all like different characters. You've got the happy one, the sad one, and
the angry one.
The angry one. That's right, Grumpy. You kind of remind me a little bit. If the Islanders were to do something like this, they say, we're going to sign back Kyle Palmieri. We're going to play Richard Panik, and we're going to bring in Travis Zajac, and we're going to let Oliver Wahlstrom play in Bridgeport. I've seen people throwing around Oliver Wahlstrom needs to start in Bridgeport so he can work on his defensive game, which I think is idiotic. I've never seen a dumber statement there. There's no way in hell Oliver Wahlstrom should start off in Bridgeport. But if they somehow were to make this hideous nightmare come true, I think Grumpy Old Man would be that angry guy on Inside Out, just pushing the throttle all the way forward on the anger. If you had Panic and Travis Zajac on the third line with Jean-Gabriel Pageau, and Kyle Palmieri just replaces Jordan Eberle.
You know, and you want to know who started that Oliver Wahlstrom to Bridgeport rumor?
Who's that?
Barry Trotz.
Barry Trotz did, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. We don't want him up here. He scores goals. We don't want any of that. I give up an offensive chance or two a game. I don't care if he scores a hat trick every game. Keeper Bellows. I don't care about that. I'm going to punish you.
Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
That would be a nightmare. Seriously, that would be a nightmare.
I know it would be for you.
Richard Panik will probably play for this team on the third line. I would not be surprised at all. He's a journeyman ham and egger that we seem to thrive on and bring in every year.
Moving right along there. Matthew S. They're saying, evening, boys. Coach Tommy, what's up there, Matthew? Coach Tommy B saying, how you gents doing? I could stay and enjoy the first half, but he's got a little expansion draft himself. For certain he does there. Ariel C said, I'm going to school for sports management. Grump, I know you were the analyst. Is it hard to get into? I'll take any job in the NHL.
Oh, well, you should have went out there with the Kraken, Ariel. You have a shot.
She also says, hey, Tarasenko is a good possibility, but I don't want to get my hopes too high.
That's what I'm afraid of. I'm guarding against failure. I've seen the Panarin fiasco. I've seen the Tavares fiasco. I don't want this to be the Vladdy fiasco of 2021.
Jesus.
I want us to get him. I think he's perfect to play with Matt Barzal. Perfect. I think he's 100% healthy. I'm all in for him. All in for him.
Welcome to MSG. I'm Brennan, and with me, my co-host, Butchie Goring. I butcher every name possible. Grumpy! I'm just giving you a hard time.
He's going to be Vladdy. He's going to be Vladdy.
Vladdy. Scott L. said, anyone else kind of annoyed with the player getting picked before the draft by the Seattle Kraken? Actually, before the draft? Yeah, I don't know. It kind of ruins the fan festival. I was kind of pissed by it.
Well, you realize they have to give all these names to the league office by 10 a.m. in the morning today.
Okay, here's my thing. Really? You couldn't keep mum as the word? Whatever happened to people just keeping things on the DL before it actually got announced?
The one thing
every single NFL draft, it's like, it's the same thing, right? They get a call. If they weren't monitoring everybody, you got a call for like, hey, we heard that this team is selecting XYZ player. And then they wait the 15 minutes before they actually make the selection. Oh, here it is. They did draft, Zach Wilson. I don't know. But the one thing I would have liked to see was to let us know all the trade details, if there were any trades that are in the works that Seattle could do. That's what I would like to see, because I think that would make it really interesting. Eli said, let's enjoy this moment. It's not normal to see Grumpy happy about something related to the Islanders. Grump, that's my thought too.
But I am happy.
You and I be damned.
I am happy. You provoked me into negativism by saying that definitely re-signing Kyle Palmieri back, because that scares me. It scares me that they'll take the path of least resistance, which will be, we'll just put Palmieri. He'll just replace Eberle. We'll put him on the first line. He scored 3 goals against Pittsburgh and 0 points against Tampa Bay in 7 games. 0 points. That's the guy I want. Brian J. He wants to make you feel better, grumpy old man. He says, Casey Cizikas, a 5-year deal, 4.5 per. How would you feel about that, TJ? Would you think that's a good deal? You said 2. I said 4. That's a joke. There's no way in hell. Okay, Grumpy. There's no way Cizikas is going to get paid like that. Casey Cizikas, a guy with injury-riddled past. I like Casey. He's got a good role for the team. He's important. That being said, there's no way Casey's getting paid more than $3 million a year. I would be shocked if he gets paid more than $3 million. I think it's going to be more like 2.5. All I'm saying is that I feel that we overpay the older players on this team. I mean, we just do. We overpay for our own guys. I just don't think it's necessary, but it's something you've seen Lou Lamoriello do in the past. That's my only concern. That's my concern.
Got a comment here from Andrew L. Andrew Levy saying, is Komarov getting traded this offseason? I'm hearing maybe he might be moved. Teams need to get the salary cap floor. I look at it like this. He's a guy that you would have to probably trade assets to get rid of.
There you go. Once again, right? We don't care about the draft. Who cares? We don't need any picks. We keep on bringing in Kyle Palmieri's of the world. The Zajacs, the Timoshovs, the Jarnaks. That's right. I don't know their first names. Why? Because they're not good enough.
Dimtro Timosov and Austin Zarnak. Anyway, Ken Sinclair said Bailey could be used as some trade bait if that's what we're doing.
They're not getting rid of Bailey. They like Bailey.
Brian J just said also Kyle Palmieri just bought a house by him. He's coming back. Do you remember? Hey, Grumpy, let's take the clock back about 7-8 podcasts ago, probably about a month ago. Do you remember when I told you that Kyle Palmieri wanted to be an Islander and he was going to come back? He just purchased a house. And you said, maybe it's rental property. Yeah, it doesn't mean he's coming back to Long Island. It doesn't mean he's going to be an Islander. Did you remember when you said that, Grumpy? You tried to run me over the bus. And I said, Kyle Palmieri's coming back. He's going to be an Islander. Hey, is it making a little more sense to you? Palmieri's going to sign back. And we have more grandiose plans than your mind could fathom, Grumpy.
If your grandiose plan is re-signing Kyle Palmieri, like I said, you don't have a plan. If that is your plan, you have no plan.
Crispy said Kyle Palmieri doesn't move the needle. For certain, he doesn't. And this is my thing. If this offseason, and I'm going to play in the Grumpies, I'm going to play devil's advocate here with Grumpy. If you go into this offseason, you say, we are just going to re-sign back everybody we had. We're going to bring in Kyle Palmieri. We're going to bring in Zach Parise. We've got Richard Panik now. We're going to bring in Zach Parise and Ryan Sutter. If that's the plan and that's the move, this offseason, you got worse. Jordan Eberle, again, a top-line right winger for you. And Nick Leddy, as many holes and as flaws as he has in his game. And again, you see them all because you've been married to him for the last 5 years. You see all the imperfections. Nick Leddy's still a top 4 defenseman across the league. And if you were to go ahead and that does not help the team improve. So again, I think the team is in win now mode. So to think that they won't do something to really drastically move the needle, it would shock me more than anything else. And I know I've said this the last 2 off seasons, but I believe this is the year.
Yeah. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool you 3 times, your name must be TJ.
How did I have to say? Fool me once? What do you think? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, you never fool me again.
No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, my name is TJ.
No, I said what George W. Bush said. He's like, fool me once, you never fool me again. Do you not know like the famous soundbite? Oh,
no, I don't pay attention to any of that. Was it on Twitter? Who cares?
On Twitter, Trump. It's in
that's my point. But that's my point, though. I guess. And Chris summed it up better than I did because you provoked me with the Kyle Palmieri thing. I told you not to do it. You did it anyway. And I don't know why. Maybe you want me to have a stroke or an aneurysm over here. But my whole thing is I want somebody who moves the needle. That's what I want. We need players to move the needle because right now we're here. We need to be over here. And we're not. Kyle Palmieri doesn't move us at all. Anything, we go back a little bit.
Well, grumpy old man, we got a comment here from Brian P. saying, I keep hearing Tarasenko's 100% healthy. I'd love Vladdy, as Grumpy calls him, and Wally with Barzy. Holy shit, look how many E's there are on that line. If that would be the case, it would give Barzy real shooters instead of Jags that he's playing with.
I'm 100% in agreement with Brian. 100%. I would love that line. Love that line. My God. Matt Barzal creating space, time and space, and getting the puck to snipers. Oh, like I said, so what? You give up a goal a game, you probably score 3. To me, that's a net win every single time.
Brian J said, looks like Grumpy's sweating.
You know what? I am sweating. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just I am sweating. I am.
I want you to turn down the AC in your house a little bit there, Grumpy.
Because I'm strapped to the couch to do the podcast. It is a little warm in the house, so I am sweating, though. I am.
He's perspiring. You just need one of those little sweat rags. Go, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, I've just been using my hand, but I am sweating today. I really am. You got me worked up, TJ. You really got me worked up. I need to have my makeup artist come in, like AJ never had, to just come in and give me a little pat down. But you know what? My hair's not all over the place. That much I know.
Here's the thing, Grumpy. We don't have it on the budget to get you a makeup artist, Grumpy. They got a lot to cover on you there, Grumpy old man. I'm not sure I'm not sure we had the budget to keep that expense going.
All I need was a little bit of powder. That's all. Take the shine off. I prep my hair by myself. Maybe AJ should try it.
Yeah, oh goodness.
I'm free to dump on AJ anytime I want now, right?
Oh, stop.
She don't work for the Islanders anymore.
Alexander says there, boy, to be honest with you guys, it was a huge letdown. The NHL by the NHL to leak those picks before the expansion draft was to go on at 8 p.m. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing over a little bit. And Coach Tommy B said, talking about Kyle Palmieri, he's a solid player, but not a first liner. And here's the thing, that's the same way I look at him. He's a solid player. I'd love to have him on my third line. Could you imagine a third line, a full year of Oliver Wahlstrom, John Gabriel Pajot, and Kyle Palmieri on the third line? That would be an outstanding third line. I would go back to saying it might be the best third line in hockey again, Grumpy.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a Kyle Palmieri fan, never have been, never will be. I would much rather see Wahlstrom playing with Tarasenko on the first line with Barzal. That's worth the price of admission. That's a line that people will pay money to go see. Okay? That's a line that would put points up. I think there'd be one of the best lines in the game. I really do, because Barzal could take his game to the next level if he had somebody on his wings who could shoot the puck. No offense to Anders Lee, that's not his strength. Being on that line is a mismatch. I always felt. Now, here's the thing: if you're going to put Anders Lee with Brock Nelson and Josh Bailey, and you got Wahlstrom on the first line with Tarasenko and Barzal, I have no problem having a third line of Beauvillier, Pajot, and, well, not Palmieri, but somebody else. Maybe a Panic. Anybody but Palmieri at this point. I mean, I think those are.
All right, I'm
joking. All right, I'm joking. But I think Beauvillier would play really well with Pajot. I really believe that. They both are really good skaters.
They're both guys who are high octane, high energy type of guys. You talk about the amount of pucks and the forecheck that line would have to be outstanding. That's a third line that could really wreak and cause havoc. Here's the thing too, right? Anthony Beauvillier, I think it would be an excellent, in a quintessential team that you're looking at who's got a chance to win a Stanley Cup every single year. Could you imagine Anthony Beauvillier? He's streaky on and off, but could you imagine him playing on a third line where he still gets specials? He still gets time on the specials. I mean, that's a guy he could be streaky, who can really contribute and win you a few games when he gets hot or not.
Yeah, I mean, if you brought Palmieri back, but see, I'm just afraid they'd overpay for Palmieri. That's my concern, is overpaying for overpriced for older veterans. If you bring him back on a 2-year, $3 million per deal, I have no problem with Kyle Palmieri coming back. I don't want to see him upwards of $4 or $5 million though for 4 years or 5 years. That's what I don't want to see, and I'm afraid that's what we could see. That's all.
Patrick V there says, hopefully Lollipop won't be back. A need to get rid of him.
Yeah, that frees up another $3 million in salary. No problem. No problem at all. And because we do have to get a top 4 defenseman. I'd love Alex Martinez, but he's going to cost. Defensemen cost money. They do.
Rusty Spooner says, Grumpy and TJ, I hope we get Landeskog. How about use? Don't tell Grumpy to calm down, TJ.
I'm going to tell people the story. When we started this podcast, TJ used to lose his mind when I would start voicing my opinions because I get a little worked up and aggravated. You got to calm down over there, buddy. No one wants to hear you go crazy. Nobody. No one can understand what you're saying or what you're doing. I'm like, stop trying to shackle me. I'm going to be who I'm going to be because that's who I am. I am what I am. Who said that, TJ? You know who said that?
It's Popeye.
That's right, Popeye the Sailor.
Do you know the what's that really big dam? The Gordy Dam or Gord Dam in China? Really, really big dam.
How about the Hoover Dam? Let's say in the United States. All right.
Let's talk about the Hoover Dam. That's fine. You know what I felt like back in the day? I felt like I was trying to shackle and trying to put a Hoover Dam and trying to block off the Hoover Dam. I was part of the Tennessee. What do they call it? The Tennessee. Oh man, my history. I haven't taken history class in a long time. Tennessee Valley Commission. I felt like I was one of those members there trying to block up the I think that's what it's called. Trying to block up the Hoover Dam.
Okay.
And by myself, grumpy old man. Back when I felt like, hey, I need to keep grumpy old man under control. But then I just kind of let you start flowing wherever you want, grumpy old man, because you're just too much to control. Too much.
I'm like a river that don't know where it's flowing. I took a wrong turn. I just kept going. That's Bruce Springsteen. Just to let you know, the Hoover Dam is not in Tennessee. Just to let
I
you know.
thought the Tennessee Valley Commission was one of the. I don't remember the Tennessee Valley Commission. I knew they did that after. I think it was Franklin Roosevelt, right?
Oh my God!
Jesus Christ! I'm gonna look really I'm gonna look really dumb. We're gonna move right along there.
Yeah.
David D. there said Palmieri wants at least $5.5 million a year. There's no way.
Okay. What if they sign him back for that? Then would you say the grumpy old man is right and he's justified in what all the things he said, and he's a seer of he's a like the Grumpstradamus, he sees the future? Would you say that?
If he signs back there for
That's what I'm afraid of. That's right there what David is saying. That's exactly what I'm afraid of.
Man, if he signs back for $5.5 million a year, that's a massive.
He'd be the only guy in this, the only guy who puts up less production and makes more money in this offseason. The only guy.
And then Brian P said, Lou always gives a long term to aging vets. That's his MO.
See, now here's the thing. I noticed now all of a sudden you kind of get into the comments a little bit. You try to treat me like I'm some type of maniac. But you know what? A lot of people think like that because they've seen the past and they know what history has happened with the Islanders. And all of a sudden, they're afraid it could happen again. They don't want to happen. And you provoked it. If he signs back, I blame you, TJ. You.
Tennessee Valley Authority. I think that's what it's called, not the Tennessee Valley.
Oh, man, let it go. Let it go.
Alexander said, oh, my God. Did they give up Bellows? No. At least that's what I'm hearing. Again, who the heck knows?
That's what I'm hearing.
That being said, moving right along there, Stephen L. said, grumpy old man is 100% correct.
There you go. And this
said, I wonder if Lou is trying to get Philip Forsberg.
I'm all for Philip Forsberg, too. All for Philip Forsberg.
And he also says, he's not absurd. Who the F are the Islanders going to add?
That's my whole thing. And I love that. I love that picture that Steven has up.
One of those things, have you ever seen a bald eagle up person?
I have not.
Huge. Those nests are huge. I hear they can get about 50 to 70 pounds. Those nests are huge. I've seen them before out in the wild. Wow. In California out there in like a Lake Tahoe area. Huge. Those bald eagle nests can be huge.
How did you get up? Were you hungry and you wanted to eat some eagle eggs or something on the walk or what?
No. We were out on the water and you see them. They pointed out. It was like crazy. It was this bald eagle went up and plopped a fish right out of the water. And you're like, oh my God, I see exactly what you see on National Geographic in person.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty neat.
Moving right along there. Yeah, David D. also said, yeah, I agree. Though I think Landeskog re-signs there with Colorado.
Yeah.
And then Brian J. saying Palmieri's getting at least 5.
See, if that's the case, I don't want any part of that. I don't want any part of that.
Man,
no part of that.
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if Kyle Palmieri gets paid more. Oh, if he's getting paid $5 million, that's a bad signing.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of.
I guess I don't have that fear. Maybe it's because I'm ignorant. Maybe because I'm blissful. Who knows? Don't be shaking your head too hard over there, Grumpy. Gave yourself some whiplash. Coach Tommy B said, Islanders doctors need to give a good examination to Tarasenko in order to make that trade. Do not trust the medicals from the Blues. Yeah, they need to have somebody else look at those type of items. And again, like I'm sure they're going to have their doctors take a close look at that with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah, I mean his surgeon who did the last surgery said that he's 100%. He said that shoulder now is rock solid. This guy's putting his reputation on the line right now. I believe, here's the thing. Calling me crazy. I think Tarasenko is going to be healthy and he's going to be out coming for bear or whatever the heck they say. He's going to come out to play next year. He's going to be, man, I would love to see him. Absolutely love to see him with Matt Barzal. Oh, be great.
Moving right along here, grumpy old man. Yeah, independent doctor they need. Yeah, for certain.
That guy was an independent doctor. The guy who did the last surgery was an independent doctor.
Alexander also said, yeah, I hope Palmieri doesn't get 4.5 to 5. I was about to say 3.5, maybe as I'm thinking the sweet spot. 3.5, 4, absolute maximum. David D saying, yeah, somebody like Palmieri on the open market's going to get $5 million. Oh, God. And Stephen L says, Lou does tend to overpay.
He does. He does. That's my worry. Whatever money he has, he's going to spend on our old guys. Oh, well, you know what? You've been a great Islander. I know you've been here 25 years. Let's give you an extra $2 million per year, Matt Martin. Casey Zizekas, I know you're hurt all the time. I know that you were overpaid on your last contract, but let's give you $4 million. Let's give you a raise for another 4 or 5 years. That's smart.
Brian J said, TJ, you should do Twitch. I think we do have it on Twitch.
I do Twitch. Look.
I think we do have it on Twitch, but I really don't even know how that. I need to investigate more of like what Twitch is and how it all works. So we do stream it to Twitch, though, I do believe.
This is a Twitch.
Like watching on Twitch.
You're not looking. This is Twitch.
I am looking at you, Grumpy.
Okay.
I see you twitching. I'm just not reacting. I see you doing that weird apoplectic shock you got going on there.
Okay.
Anyway, moving right along there. He picked up Palmieri and Zajac even at league minimum is overpaying.
I mean, certainly I don't want Zajac back. Oh, if somehow Casey leaves, we'll re-sign Zajac back. Why? Why do you want to sign a 36-year-old to fill out the bottom of your roster? Give the young guys a chance. Stop loading up this team with geriatric cases. I don't want to see it. I don't want guys who are a year or 6 months from Social Security on this roster. I don't want to see it.
God almighty. Moving right along there, grumpy old man. John V there said, how did Palmieri fail? He was one of the best players in the playoffs for us this last year.
Not when it counted. Not in the big series he wasn't. He was invisible. He was absolutely invisible against Tampa Bay. Invisible. He was wearing the Harry Potter invisibility cloak. Yeah, he scored 3 goals against Christian, empty net Jari. And he did okay against Boston, against a guy who didn't have a hip. That's fine. You put him in there against a goalie who can actually stand on 2 legs. 0. Nothing. Nada. Nothing.
Coach Tommy B said, Tampa is taking some solid hits due to their cap horrors. Losing Gord and Goudreau will hurt. Yeah, but here's the thing. All those teams, I mean, they might be taking hits, but they were the most dominant team in the league for, quite a bit of time and won 2 cups. So, hey, they're willing to take one off the chin a little bit to keep the current composition they have still going.
Well, you know what? So you know what they do, though? They backfill with younger guys. You're not going to see them run out and get some older guys. You're going to see them play their younger players. Bring up guys from the minors. Break them in on the 3rd and 4th line. That's what you should do. You shouldn't double down on the geezer squad. Sorry there, Tommy Baffy.
David D said also, TJ, Casey's going to get at least $3 million per.
At least $3 million per.
Moving right along there. John Jeffers said, I can't listen to this jerk off anymore. Knows nothing. I don't know if he's talking about you or me, Grumpy, but usually when people get angry like that, they're talking about you.
Well,
goodbye, John. Don't let the door hit you.
Bye, John. Sorry.
John G, they're saying LOL at Kyle Palmieri. Should
you know what? Do you want to when John will come back when he sees the contracts that Casey and Kyle Palmieri get? That's when he'll come back. He'll go, shit, that jerk off knew what he was talking about.
John G saying that he's laughing out loud there. Kyle Palmieri shouldn't get $10.
It's the truth.
Oh, goodness gracious. That being said there, Hayden Field Slasher said, yo, what's up? Who is that, Grumpy? What type of character is that?
It's Haddonfield, not Haydenfield, and it's from the classic 1978 John Carpenter film, Halloween.
Fair enough.
It's Michael Myers.
Fair enough. John also said $4 million a year for 3 years.
Oh, I don't want to see that. $4 million a year?
That would not be a great signing, but it could be worse.
It could be worse, but it could be better too.
Nicholas A said, get Grumpy some milk. I don't know what that means, Grump, but get you some milk. Maybe he wants your bones to be fortified.
Maybe.
Steven also said Cooper is an overrated coach. And then Alexander saying there, Palmieri shouldn't get more than $2 million a year or 2 to 3.
Yeah, that's what I would offer him. I'd offer him $3 million a year for 2 years. There's the offer, Kyle. You want to be here? That's what the offer is. And see, you bought yourself a house here. You should have the advantage, right? 2 years, $3 million per. That should be enough to pay for your house for 2 years. Then you can sell it.
Okay, girl. What type of house do you think he's buying? You think he's buying a $6 million house over there, girl?
No, I mean, that should be enough for his mortgage payment, at least $3 million a year. That should be able to afford that.
Yeah, I think he can maybe squeeze that in. Stephen L. said, without a shortened season and COVID, Islanders were going to be eliminated from the playoffs easily.
I don't think they would have made the playoffs in the first year.
You mean in the
in
20
the COVID season? Yeah. And this year, I think we benefited from the fact that all the teams underneath us kind of imploded at the end.
Gotcha. Moving right along there. Frank K also said Rangers were about to pass them pre-pandemic. Yeah, that's right. Again, the Islanders were on that 7-game losing streak there, and the tail end of, was it 2019 or 2020? I can't remember. All the years are right.
2019.
About to be, no, was it 2020? No, it had to be 2020. Nope.
2019-2020 season.
Yeah. They were starting to fall off the hinges, yeah. And again, like we had lost 7 games there in a row, and what we had like 2 wins in the last 15 games or something. We had fallen off the rails of what was an outstanding first half of the season. We had 20-game point streak. Think about that.
Yeah.
Coach Tommy B said Casey Cizikas is going to be 4 years, $3 million per. That's overpaying, in my opinion.
Sure is. A guy who's 30 years old and he's hurt all the time. You want to give him 4 years? I'm sorry. That's the Leo contract. That's the Leo contract all over again.
That's the Leo contract.
Move out Leo and just give a new Leo.
Oh, yeah. And moving right along there. John Jeffers also saying there, you guys are nuts. Palmieri's a tough, hard-nosed two-way player built for the playoffs. Lou didn't trade away number 1 to get him. Well, he did. Lou did trade away number 1 pick there, first overall pick there, first round pick there to get him. He's a Long Island boy and he wants to be here. Yeah, I was about to say, if he's willing to take a discount, sure, bring him in. If he's not willing to take a discount, no, you can't pay him. $5 million a year. I think that's ludicrous. Again, like here's the thing: Kyle Palmieri to come up and say, "Hey, there's not too many unrestricted free agents at right wing here this year. I want $5 million a year." You know what I do? Be like, hey, what can we do to go ahead and get Vladimir Tarasenko? And as soon as we did that, say, go ahead and walk. I'm not paying you $5 million a year. That's ridiculous. There's no way in hell the Islanders are paying him $5 million a year. I'd be shocked. You might not see me on the podcast. You might see me the entire next episode like this.
$3 million. For me, for him, here's your offer, Kyle. 2 years, $3 million per. Take it or leave it. And then just, see what happens. Go another route, see what you can do. And let's see what he can get on the open market. If he thinks he can get more, bye-bye. Thank you for your 17 games here.
Maxwell Q. He's playing along well. He already knows. He said Landy is coming to the Islanders.
Landy Landeskog.
Landeskog, Vladimir, Tarasenko, and Barzal.
Landeskog would be a tremendous addition for us. He really would. But I don't see it happening. What's you going to do with Anders Lee? Right.
That's why I don't think we're bringing in Landeskog. I like. Here's the thing, and if we do, it means that Anthony Beauvillier is gone.
Yeah. Okay. Is that a move you really want to make? I don't know. Not me.
It depends on.
The second line only works when Anthony Beauvillier works. You realize that, right?
Let's play devil's advocate. Say they go ahead and bring in Landeskog, slide him on the first line. Okay, we're playing with a lot right now. Let's say they bring in Landeskog and Tarasenko, which is not happening. All right, then you'd have to give up maybe Beauvillier in order to get a guy like Tarasenko. They would keep Anders Lee there, and they just move him on the second line, and they try a first line there of Landeskog, Barzal, and Tarasenko. It's not happening though, guys. That is no way in hell happening. If it does, I've died, and I've gone to Islanders heaven. I've gone to heaven. Then, if that's the case, it's not going to happen. Brian P said, "I think he's gonna give Casey too much term. I love Casey, but this team feels they're gonna fall apart if their fourth line isn't together." Don Cherry called them the best fourth line in hockey 7 years ago.
It's true. I'm telling you, Brian's bringing it today. He's absolutely right on everything he said. Absolutely right.
Also, John Jeffers says they are getting Tarasenko. I think they are too. I think with them moving Eberle, I think they have every intention to get Tarasenko. Here's something though. If you move Eberle and you have every intention to get Tarasenko and you miss out, that is a colossal fail. I don't give a crap what happens. If bottom line, I don't care if they're like, oh, well, somebody happened, XYZ happened, and the deal fell out because somebody lied to us and someone threatened us at gunpoint. I don't care. Bottom line, if you don't get Tarasenko, awful mismanagement. You have to get Tarasenko. Moving Eberle, you have to bring in Tarasenko.
Which is what has happened the last few previous years, right? We didn't get Panarin. We had no plan B. We didn't re-sign Tavares. We had no plan B. That's my concern, is every year we have these grandiose plans, and then at the end of the day, it doesn't happen, and we have no plan B. If Kyle Palmieri is your plan B, you didn't have a plan B. That's all I'm saying.
David D said, exactly. I'm with you, grumpy old man. You think like me.
Yeah. We've seen it before. This is not my first rodeo with these Islanders and Lou Lamoriello. It's not my first rodeo. I've seen this before. I've seen this movie before. And it ends the same way, with the Islanders getting beat in the playoffs.
What a film said, with Cizikas coming back, is the fourth line locked in for next year?
I would think so. If you protected the other two, think about it. We protected 2 fourth-line players who between them make $4 million and are what, 67 years between them. Those are the guys that we protected. Think about that.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Think about that. And we leave unprotected younger players like Kiefer Bellows and Otto Koivula. Those are the guys we leave unprotected.
Here's the issue, right? Otto Koivula might as well just go ahead and right his ship just like Kiefer Bellows did. He'll never get a chance here. Why? If I'm Otto Koivula, I'm like, yeah, send me on loan there back there to somewhere in Europe. No point me being over here. Let my rights expire. Let me go play somewhere else. I mean, that kid's played well there overseas. He played well there in Bridgeport at times, and here he is. He's going to be relegated to play in the Bridgeport for the entire year next year. He'll never get a chance here.
I'm going to ask you a question. How many of Garth Snow's draft picks who are not up with the big team have had a shot to play on this team?
Well, technically, Otto Koivula did have 9 games. So if you classify that as a shot, he technically got one. I don't consider that a shot. I don't consider Kiefer Bellows having received a shot. There are a lot of guys from that Garth Snow era who really necessarily haven't received a shot if they weren't already on the team. And think about how long it took for them to get Devon Toews up there. And again, people are going to use the excuse, well, TJ, don't you remember Devon Toews was coming off of shoulder surgery? They wanted to make sure he was 100% ready to go. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's all I hear when I hear that. Because same thing is when NHLers get injured and they're ready and they're back, they're healthy. It's not like we say, hey, we're going to start you off in the A to make sure you get your feet and your bearing about you. They say, let's give you a chance.
He was the best defenseman in that training camp, and he still got sent down so they could play Thomas Hickey, the veteran, and Lucas Spiza. That's why Adam Pelech didn't play.
Thomas Hickey getting injured that year was the best thing that happened to the Islanders, because as soon as Thomas Hickey went down, the team went the upward trajectory was crazy. Devon Toews stepped in the lineup, and again, there was no looking back. It was almost like one of those injuries where Thomas Hickey goes down. It's like, oh, yeah, well, hold on a sec. This kid, Devon Toews, has actually played really well since you've been out. Oh, wow. He's done a really good job. It was one of those things that blew my mind. But anyway, I'm moving right along there, Grumpy. Mario says, TJ, it appears that you are blissfully unaware of Lou Lamoriello's history of overpaying veterans. Almighty Lou gave a 2-year, $7 million deal to 36-year-old Alexander Mogilny. Now, here's the thing. I understand he's done that in the past, but I'm going to play some devil's advocate with you.
Okay. Well, before I let you do the devil's advocate, have you ever heard the saying, you cannot teach an old dog new tricks?
Yes, I have.
Okay, thank you. Continue.
I love how you say that. It's like, that's my point. That's all I needed. Old dogs, no new tricks. None. They can't teach them new tricks. I'll put it to you like this, Grumpy. And for Mario out here too. Do you think he's just going to – Lou Lamoriello is just going to ignore what the value is for some of these players out there? He's going to say, even though I'm seeing guys like Taylor Hall get $6 million a year, even though I'm seeing guys like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins getting $5 million a year, I'm going to overpay to keep these players because we're good friends with them. We play, what do you call it? What game is it, Grumpy? Knuckle, P-Knuckle? What game is that? The old game?
They could play any game. Canasta.
I've never played canasta. I have no idea what it is, but they're playing canasta together. So they want to say, I want to make sure that my canasta partner stays happy. So not only am I going to sign him back, but I'm going to overpay him by $1 or $2 million a year because I really want to make sure, because Casey and I were awesome canasta partners. Is that what we think is going to happen? Or you think he's going to say, hey, I'm seeing kind of what the value is for these players are comparable. I'm going to make sure my players are paid a comparable amount.
Do you want the long or short answer?
Either or, Grumpy. I'll let you be as creative as you want with it.
I'll give you the short answer. Yes, that's exactly what I think these days. Yes. I don't think he cares what other people do. He's going to do what he's going to do, and that's it, because he's the great Lou Lamoriello. When was the last time he won a cup? What year?
Goodness gracious. John Jeffers also saying there, put Bailey on a third line and Wahlstrom on Nelson's line.
Yeah, they need somebody to create on that line. That's what they need. They need someone who can create. Brock Nelson's not a creator. At least, well, we know Josh Bailey won't shoot the puck. So, in essence, he is kind of a creator because he's always passing. Mm-hmm. So, if you take it off there, who's going to pass the puck? It's not Nelson. It wouldn't be Beauvillier. He's another guy who's a hard charger go to the net type. And it's certainly not Wahlstrom.
What if Films there saying, I agree, TJ, Wahlstrom will be a third-line guy. That isn't so bad, though. Hey, Grumpy, come on.
What's up? He didn't say come on. He just said, hey, Grumpy. It's like saying hello. That's what he said. Don't try to make it sound worse than it is. Don't try to put your little personal digs at the grumpy old man for what other people are saying. Don't do
it. You got me. What can I say, Grumpy?
Yeah, I can read.
Coach Tommy B said teams have to reach cap floors too. League rules. Yeah, they do. But again, like what were to stop them from saying, hey, there's free agents out there. Instead of me taking XYZ player off your books and riding them down low, we could just go ahead and pick somebody up as a free agent on a 1-year deal. Short-term deal. All
they have to make is $45 million is the floor. That's what they have to do. I remember when the Islanders traded for Tim Thomas, who wasn't going to play, and they actually gave up a second-round draft. I think it was a second-round draft pick to Boston, where Boston had to get them off their cap, and somehow we paid them to help them out.
It's funny. Coach Tommy B messaged me the same thing. I said, do you remember the good old days where we had to give up draft capital to get Tim Thomas from the Boston Bruins so we can reach the cap floor? And I'm like, oh, yeah, long time ago.
Now, that would get you a first-round pick, Tim Thomas and a first-round pick just to take it. Not back then. Not back then when the Islanders were. Who's the GM? Was it Gar Snow? That'd be Gar Snow.
Gar Snow.
I mean, he was another guy, right? Another one.
Maxwell Q said, Leo's got 1 year left. We keep him from depth purposes.
Ugh. I mean, is that the depth you want, though? How many fourth liners do we need on this team?
Well, hold on. Leo is a bona fide first line left winger, Grump. Don't you disparage that son of a gun's name.
That's true. He did score 1 goal.
Hey, there it is. Brian P. also saying, not every player has to win the freaking selfie. Let's try and win in different ways. Can't grind it out for 82 games.
Man, bang! Brian again, spot on. Man, Brian is like.
Hey, Brian J. saying, Simon Holmstrom, no worries. He'll be up soon. Oh,
you watch. They'll give that piece of garbage a shot. You watch. They'll do everything they can to get him in a lineup.
Here's the thing. Is it am I wrong to think that they would try to promote Simon Holmstrom over Otto Koivula?
For certain. Otto Koivula, we didn't draft him.
Yeah. Well, neither here nor there. Frank K. there said Islanders aren't getting Tarasenko or Landy. They're not getting Vladdy or Landy. No shot. Palmieri, Parise, and possibility of Sutter will be the big signings. That will not put them into the finals. Sounds more like a first-round exit or worse. Here's the thing. That is worst-case scenario. If you take this offseason, re-sign Palmieri, and you bring in Parise and Sutter, holy shit, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just maybe go into an eternal sleep because you had chances. That's just a mismanagement, in my opinion.
People forget the hard-on Lou had for Parise even 2 years ago. And even this, he wanted him this year. He thinks, and he wasn't even thinking about lowering his salary. Maybe he'll make him a 5-year, $4 million a year offer to an absolutely finished Zach Parise. Maybe he'll be the first line forward that we need to put us over the top.
Brian J saying we're in trouble. Oh man, I guess I'm a little bit more optimistic. And Dirk C there saying good morning, Jets. Good morning there from Germany.
You know, a Simon Holmstrom mention and Dirk pops up. Love you, Dirk.
Goodness gracious, absolutely. And then Brian P said, Leo doing a good job on the first line in the worst take in NHL history. Oh no, he's great. Just listen to Art Staple. He'll tell you he's really serving a good purpose on that first line.
Butch, any of the Islander media cartel, they'll all tell you how great he was. He made this guy so much better. We didn't score, but we didn't give up. But you know what? We need him for faceoffs. We don't need him to. I mean, we need him 30 foot in the defensive zone when we're playing 1.5 guys in the offensive zone against 5. That's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
What a nightmare that was to watch.
David, he also said a third rounder and a prospect in Komarov will be unloaded.
So
that's like in my opinion, that's I hate having to pay that price. I know you're kind of handcuffed, but think about it. You'd have to give up a third round pick to get and a prospect to get rid of Leo Komarov. Ugh, no interest. That's like one of those where I'm like, eat it. If you can eat it, just bury him down there in EA.
Do we need any more money? That's what I would say at this point. I don't know what the plans are, but do we need any more money? You have, with Johnny's money, we have close to 29 million to spend if we go over with Johnny's money. Is that correct, TJ?
I saw a comment. Sorry, I'm just laughing. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But I think
with Johnny, we have like 22 million available cap space right now.
And that's with Eberle gone as well?
Yes.
Okay. How much more do you need? I'm just interested. I mean, I shudder at giving away more draft picks and prospects. Our prospects are not great to begin with, and we don't have any draft picks. I don't want to give up more draft picks. It's $3 million, right? For what, 1 more year? At some point, you just got to say, just ride it out or dump them on long-term, whatever. I just don't want to give up more draft picks.
I got a lot of good comments. They roll through, Grump. You're going to enjoy this. I did lose some comments again because we didn't get to them quick enough, so I do apologize.
Because you provoked me.
Because I provoked. Okay, you went off. Michael T said, I feel breaking up the fourth line would hurt this team overall. I'm glad we're keeping it together. I think that's important.
3 guys.
If here's the thing, if Casey's going to take a deal to where he's not getting paid a lot or he's on a manageable deal, it's not going to be like a 4 or 5 year deal. When I heard Art Staple write that possibly a 6-year deal to Casey Cizikas, I think 2 things. I think, man, oh man, Art, shut your mouth. Don't even give Lou Lamoriello any ideas. And I think if that's what Lou's thinking, we might be in trouble on that one.
You're talking about you're keeping together a line that plays 10 minutes a game, 3 guys in their 30s, with 2 guys who are hurt, at least 20% of the year?
Well, here's the thing. Casey actually has been healthy as of recent, as shocking as that may sound. I mean, again, knock on wood. Hopefully you can hear that. He's been healthy a little bit.
But Clutterbuck's been hurt. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I love the guys, but like I said, what are you going to keep on paying until they're 40 years old? I mean, they're past their expiration date. And last year, you saw it. They would have a good game, maybe 1 out of 5. Other than that, they were exposed. They played better in the playoffs, but during the regular season, they were good maybe 1 out of 5 games. I'm sorry. You need better than that.
Brian B said, so is Bellows gone as well? From what I hear, it was, again, I heard that Bellows is gone, but again, I've heard from sources that he's not. I think they had to give something up to get rid of Eberle. And if you gave up Bellows, maybe that lightened what you had to give up draft capital-wise. So I wouldn't be shocked if Bellows is gone.
I'm just not a believer in giving up first guy who's 22 years old or maybe just 23 years old who has an acumen to score. What's the one thing this can't do is score. And those are the guys we're giving away. Young, developing goal scorers. Doesn't sound like smart to me.
Brian P said, TJ's playing Othello, Grumpy. When you said you're playing chess, he says, I'm playing Othello.
Yeah. Luck. Nothing but luck.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's an old game.
I was about to say, I've never played Othello, but I know it's an old game. That might be a game that Lou Lamoriello's playing with the boys. Yeah. Andrew L there says, Grumpy, how much would you spend on Landeskog?
He says he wants $9 million a year. He's not and I would not pay him that much. Why? because he's 28. He's going to get at least a 6-year deal. I think you could maybe get him for 8 or try to offer him 8. The bottom line is he wants to go back to Colorado. I mean, so it could be like a Panarin situation where you wind up, all you're doing is helping him jack up his price for Colorado. Or like Tavares. He wasn't coming back. It doesn't matter how much money we offered.
Yeah. Well, Jerry Springer. So, Grumpy, you don't think he's got any chance? You won't even entertain how much you would offer for him?
I said $8 million. I'd offer him $8 million a year.
Jerry Springer said, I'm playing 10 games of chess at the same time. And then he says, you're playing marbles and I'm playing 3D chess, Grumpy. Oh, goodness gracious. Moving right along there, Rusty Spooner said, we possibly can get Landeskog and Tarasenko. It's definitely doable.
Well, the whole thing is if you generate enough cap space, yes, you could potentially do it. And it would be great. Now, here's the thing. That would be a great offseason. I just don't see that happening. Too many moving pieces.
Frank K said, the Islanders are going to be bringing in tadpoles, not big fish.
There you go, Frank.
Oh. And then Rodney L there said, Hail Bailey.
Hails bells, like hails bells.
Hails bells. Okay, I guess that makes sense there. Jerry Springer also says there, Grump, if the Islanders win the cup, with Josh Bailey, you've got to get a fat number 12 tattooed on your arm, top right shoulder in orange and blue, Grumpy.
Is that what I have to do? Thanks, Jerry.
That's what you got to do, Grump. I'm just saying. Just saying there, Grumpy. And then What a Film said, Grumpy is worried about overpaying. If Palmieri gets signed to a $5 million contract, then we've got something to be worried about. For certain we do.
And that's my concern. That is my whole concern.
And then Richard L said, maybe Bellows gets a shot. Here's the thing, too. If Bellows is gone, I hope that kid lights the world on fire.
And I hope he scores hat tricks on us every single time he plays us and goes by the bench and goes, hey, Barry, how am I now, baby?
I don't hope he does that. I'm not that vindictive, but I hope he's got a really successful career because I think the kid's talented. I've heard some things about it. Here is the issue I've always had about the hate there towards Kiefer Bellows. Oh, hey, we did PEDs there in the past, and the trust isn't there for the Islanders. They don't trust him because, he went behind the back. He had some personal issues there. They're keeping on the DL. And, that PEDs just put him over the edge. I'm sorry. The amount of athletes that do performance-enhancing drugs to some capacity is more than you'd like to imagine. Most people would like to imagine. And the thing is, there are so many who do it and don't get caught. And, it's just one of those things where, every single not every athlete, but more than you'd like to think and entertain the thought of do some sort of performance enhancing drug. They do.
Very true. Leo DeRocha once wrote a book, Nice Guys Finish Last.
Is that what it is, huh, Grumpy?
That's what it was. It was a good read, too.
And then Richard L said, Bailey staying was key.
Key for another lost season.
And then Richard also said, Bailey's had the most points in the postseason since 2018. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me. Okay. I'm not even going to touch that. I don't need to go on. I've already went on a Kyle Palmieri rant. I'm not going on a Josh Bailey rant today.
Oh.
I believe there's plenty of time for that.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, goodness gracious.
I like Palmieri. I'm sorry. I liked Eberle better than Bailey for what he could bring to the table. But I think overall for the team, considering Josh Bailey's a second line player, and he's smart, not a great player because no one ever says that about him. They just say how smart he is. No, you ever notice never ever says about Josh Bailey, man, he's a great player. Nobody ever says that. Oh boy, he's really smart. Well, okay. I don't need you to break out your slide rule, Josh Bailey. I need you to perform on the ice. I still think it's better that we kept Bailey over Eberle, though, just because Bailey is more versatile.
Jerry Springer there says, bro, how the F would you use Eberle to get Tarasenko? What you're going to give him? Eberle and like 30 draft picks? Laughing my ass off. We don't have that anymore.
Okay. Well, what would you give him? What do you think you would need to give up to get Tarasenko now that you don't have Eberle? You don't have anybody on your roster. What, Anders Lee? That's not happening. No. Give me another forward on our team.
I think they're going to say Beauvillier.
Give up another young guy for an older guy. Okay, that makes sense.
Kev Rock said, absolutely ridiculous takes tonight. And then Richard L. said, thought this guy knew hockey. Thank God this guy has no decision-making power for the team.
Yeah, we'd be Stanley Cup champions right now.
Oh,
that's what
there
we'd be.
it is.
And our team would be younger in a better cap situation. I wouldn't have to trade away all our first-round draft picks. You're right.
What if Phil said, Bailey is a good keep? He's a second or third line guy who will earn his keep. I was about to say, Grumpy, you got upset by we kept Bailey, but hey, man, I don't mind.
I just said I'd rather keep Bailey over Eberle. I did say that because he's more versatile. He's not a great player though. He's just a guy.
Rodney Leal said, I wonder what Grumpy thinks about Michael Del Cole.
He's another jag, is what he is. He knows his role. Here's the thing: you could easily lose somebody off your fourth line and put in Michael Del Cole. I mean, very easily.
Yeah. And then, again, he's also saying there, Jerry Springer said, no way does Panic dress unless we don't keep Cizikas.
I wouldn't be surprised if he plays more than you think. He's their type of guy.
Kev Rock said also, Tarasenko won't be the Panarin fiasco. Tarasenko listed in New York Islanders as one of the teams he wants to go to, unlike Yeasty Bread Man.
Until the day it happened, he was going to the Islanders. Until the day it happened, Panarin was going.
You remember even the day of, they still were coming out with rumors that he signed with the Islanders. Do you guys remember that?
I do.
He said, hey, the Islanders have signed Panarin. I was like, holy shit. I remember posting it on social media. Man, the Islanders signed it. They said, hold on, not yet. Hold the phone. And then it would up being like a few hours later, he actually signed with the Rangers. He
wanted to go to New York, and he liked the Islanders. He wanted to go there. But his wife really wanted him to go to the Rangers. They upped their offer a little bit, which was still less than ours, and that's where he went.
And then Joe A. said, Grumpy, what about Parise and Sutter? Please no.
No.
I don't. Okay, here's the thing. Sutter might be okay. I still don't think he's a perfect fit. He could do a more than adequate job. I just don't want to sign him to a long-term deal. That's it. If he's willing to play a short-term deal, he's a better fit.
He doesn't play defense anymore, though. That's the thing. I mean, you have to, if you're going to have it in this system, if you don't play defense, well, I guess maybe because he's old, they figure he could do no wrong. But you have to be able to play some defense to be a defenseman on this team. You really do.
What if for shits and giggles, why not sign Ho-Sang as a fourth line player? Man.
Well,
has unfortunately sailed.
They have absolutely killed that young man's career. And you know what? They should. If they never had a chance to they never gave him an opportunity to perform. Why didn't you just let him go? I mean, why did you re-sign him all those years if you had no intent of using him? Why? Punishment?
And Kev Rock said they're too old. There are a few 16 under players Grumpy would rather have. No, here's the thing, right, Kev? And this is the thing. Look at the team and the composition. I think I don't have as much of an issue there with it, but you want sustainability there with your team's chance to win. He doesn't believe unless we make a move to get a big fish, we've got a chance to win. If you make a move to get a big fish, who gives a shit what the age is, right? But unless you've got the big fish, I can understand a little bit of the apprehension behind it because as soon as this window passes, you're screwed. And you're complete and full rebuild. But hey, here's the thing. I think Grumpy would have no issue with the age if the team had added a guy like Tarasenko, a big fish that makes us a real competitor. If we add a real sniper on the first line, I think we automatically go from a team that is getting to the pinnacle every year but can't actually climb on top to where now we can get over the hump.
Here's the thing. I'm not an Islander fan who's just happy making the playoffs and, maybe getting to the conference finals every once in a while. I want TJ's 100%. I want sustainability. I don't want to just keep on throwing old Band-Aids, old used up Band-Aids on top of the wound. I'd rather get a young, fresh Band-Aid with stickies on the bottom to throw on there. Yeah, maybe it'll be a little bit tight to start, but it'll loosen up over time and develop into a good Band-Aid, not like what you have now.
Yeah, goodness gracious there. And then Rusty Smooter said, Grumpy is like Michael Douglas in Falling Down. Look the fuck out.
Did you ever see that movie, Falling Down?
I wish I could tell you what that reference was, but I thought you would know because I assume it's a movie reference.
It is a movie reference, and I love the fact that he's got the glasses and the briefcase. Fantastic. Michael Douglas was fired from his job from a government defense contracting company, I believe, and he goes absolutely ballistic. He does wind up getting killed at the end. Spoiler alert, but I mean,
what's wrong with you? Maybe I wanted to watch it now that you're selling a story. You tell me what happens at the end of the movie. Who are you?
Okay. That movie's got to be 30 years old. Okay.
It was new to me, damn it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. No comment. I'll tell you what. I'm sure you can find it on some streaming service. Falling Down. Watch it. Barbara Hershey's in it. Robert Duvall. Good stuff.
Well, now I know the ending. What's the point? 2 minutes pessimistic. He said, sorry for joining late. But is Grumpy Old Man having 2 non-grumpy podcasts in a row? No, I want to say he was pretty grumpy.
Well, you provoked me with the Kyle Palmieri thing. I was happy when we started the podcast. Very, very happy. And then you had to bring up Kyle Palmieri like we're definitely signing him. There's my first option.
We are definitely signing him.
Don't start.
Andrew L. said, Grumpy, what would be the maximum you would spend to get Landeskog?
$8 million. I wouldn't give him more than $8 million.
Well, duly.
You got to remember, most teams cannot afford a free agent like that to pay him that much.
And then Deidre C. there says, I think losing Eberle is upsetting only because he should have been used as trade bait. Now, who do we have to trade that player that we need?
That's the question that I just asked Deidre, and TJ said Anthony Beauvillier.
I'm just telling you, if you bring in a guy like Landeskog, or you have intention to do that, it's one less guy you have to sign back. And if Landeskog's planning on, again, like I don't know how much cap. Here's the thing: if they're planning on moving both Leo Komarov as well as Thomas Hickey, that's an additional $5.5 million off the cap. I have no idea. I've seen that thrown out there, but if they were to move those two guys, it's an extra $5.5 million off the cap. It's not crazy to think we could sign Landeskog and then bring in Tarasenko if that's the case. If you cleared another $5.5 million off the cap space, that would give you $27.5 million to sign back in their situation. They would want to sign back Pelech. That would be to sign Sorokin, to sign Cizikas, and then you have to look at Landeskog and adding 7.5 there in Tarasenko. So I mean, you have 20.5 to sign back those 3 players, or to sign those 3 players.
Yeah, I mean that would be a grand slam off season. Adding Landeskog and Tarasenko, that's a grand slam.
Yeah, again, I have no idea the likelihood thereof it. And again, you also have to add another defenseman there too. So again, depending on who you add, if Sutter's going to come on cheap or if he's going to be expensive, we'll find out. We will find out.
Sutter's going to get paid more money than you think.
I'm sure he will, which is not going to make me excited. That's why I don't think it's a good fit. Brian P. said, how many times are we going to trade assets for teams to take our vet stiffs?
As long as Lou Lamoriello is in charge of signing older players to long, unsustainable contracts, we will continue to trade it. Assets, get rid of them.
What a Films says there, Eberle will be great for Seattle. He is less effective in New York. Here's the thing. I think he's going to put up more points in Seattle than he was putting up in New York because he won't have to play such a defensive structured game. And
remember, offense is not important when you play for the Islanders. It's all about limiting chances and hoping to get a counter rush to score a goal and maybe some individual brilliance from Matt Barzal. That's how we're built.
Eve there said Jordan Eberle said that he had an idea that this could happen and notes that he only got there 10 hours ago. Said that he checked into a hotel under a different name with hopes that no one was in town.
Okay.
Well, I did see that. They covered that there in the expansion draft special. And
I wonder what name he uses when he wants to be incognito.
That's a good question. I have no idea what type of name he uses there, Grumpy Old Man.
That's where you get to be creative, though.
Yeah. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? Any trades that Seattle has made here, Grumpy Old Man, this is posted here by Pierre LeBrun. Unfortunately, this is some sad news here for us, Grumpy Old Man. He says, any trades that Seattle may have in the hopper will be finalized and announced after the trade freeze is lifted at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. And I expect there will be a few over the coming days.
For certain.
Right? They leaked all the freaking picks beforehand. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't actually show it. They leaked all the picks beforehand. Why the hell can they not leak the trades?
I don't know.
Trying to tell me nobody knows the trades ahead of time. This is the thing that I actually wouldn't mind you leaking.
Yes. See, that's what I wanted to see.
That being said, moving right along there, Frank K said the Islanders are like WCW, signing old guys.
That's right. Signing when they signed Nash and Hall, and then Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, all well past their prime. Roddy Piper, Ultimate Warrior came back. All those old guys, they were all really finished. and they sign him to big long-term deals. Oh yeah, put him out of business. Good business model there, New York Islanders.
Michael O'Donnell there says, no need to give up assets to move Uncle Leo, Mr. Lollipop, or Hickey. Their contracts can be bought out this offseason at a good rate.
I will say this. If he's trading more assets to offload their contracts, he certainly has bigger plans, I would hope, in store than signing back the Kyle Palmieri's and the Casey Cizikises and some bargain basement defender if you're trying to free up that much cap space.
Michael T said, I think there's a good possibility the Islanders get Sutter and Parise. Just saying. I'm shocked. If you bring in Parise, here's the thing. I don't want to play anything besides a bottom six role. We've got enough bottom six guys already. And if you're planning on bringing in a guy like Tarasenko, I don't know what it's going to cost. But here's the thing. Could you imagine this? What I think is likely to happen, we make a trade there for Tarasenko. We have to give up Beauvillier, but we sign Zach Parise to play on our second line left wing position.
He can't play anymore.
Well, this is what I think it might happen. Whatever I take, the biggest plus and the worst possibility, I kind of find somewhere in the middle. That's usually what we do. I could see us doing something like that, bringing in both Sutter and Parise and paying Parise to be a second line left wing as we have to trade Anthony Beauvillier and something else to get Vladimir Tarasenko.
He can't play anymore. Zach Parise can't play anymore. He was a healthy scratch 10 games last year, and he was a third-line player for Minnesota. He can't play anymore. I'm sorry. Your time is up. Why we just want to just sign these old retreads and give them any money at all, let alone overpaying for guys like that. Now, could I see them bringing Parise in? Yes. Do I think it'd be a smart move? No. I don't want to see 36-year-old, totally finished, 10-game scratch Zach Parise on this team next year.
Joe A there said, I could see the Islanders trading for Dunn. Kraken have a boatload of solid defensemen.
Yeah, what are you going to have to give up? I mean, unless that's part of a deal that they have, I will be interested. 1:00 tomorrow afternoon, I'm ready for that.
Then Kev Rock also said, I can 100% see that too. Alexander saying, TJ giving the grumpy old man a heart attack.
Yeah. Good job, TJ.
Joe Francis said, grumpy old man sweating like a whore in church, grumpy.
Man, that's an old time saying.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they like to say that PC culture these days. Rich A there says, Islanders offseason re-sign Palmieri and Zeker, add Sutter and Parise. I'm sorry. That just doesn't move the needle enough for me. That's not enough. I just don't think it's enough there to be saying, hey, we've gotten to this point. What can we do to bring us to the next level? We're going to get rid of Jordan Eberle, a top line right winger for us. We're going to get rid of Nick Leddy, and we're going to go ahead and sign everybody back and bring in 36-year-old defenseman Ryan Sutter and 37-year-old left wing Zach Parise. That has not moved the needle, in my opinion.
That's a fail. And at inflated rates. I guarantee if that's what we do, the rates are inflated. They're going to get way too much money.
Matthew C. And this is exactly what I think. I like Kyle for the right price. I would love Kyle Palmieri at the right price for certain.
Yeah, but it has to be on the cheap. I don't want to. I mean, $3 million, 2 years, $3 million, and you play on the third line. That's your role. I have no problem with that.
Kev Rock also says there, the way the Islanders roll the line, your traditional definitions of first, third, etc., are null and void. Yeah, that being said, though, you still need your first line who's playing the majority of the minutes. They're playing the line share of the minutes because as much as we roll lines, fourth line, Matt Martin plays like 10, 12 minutes a night. And it's the same thing. Zizekas might play like 14, 15, and, Cal Clutterbuck might play like 13 or 14 minutes a night, but the guys still play substantially less minutes in the first line. Your first line has to score goals, which is something they've struggled with there since Lee went out last year. I know Grumpy likes to call them average Anders, but hey, we missed them last year. Say what you want, but we did miss them.
How much did we miss them? We got to the same spot we got to the year before. Same exact spot, same exact result.
Philip D there said, Vladdy probably will get hurt again, so I hope we land Landeskog.
I don't think Vladimir Tarasenko is going to get hurt. I think he's going to have a great year. I think he's going to be great for the Islanders. I'd love to see him here.
Alexander also said there, I did see Beauvillier and Pajot playing together a couple times, and they played pretty well together last year.
Yeah, they're a good fit. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Palmieri play on that third line. I think it would actually be pretty good. But, you got to get Tarasenko. I just think it's imperative. And you have to move Wallstrom up. He's got to be higher up in the lineup.
Too Miss Pessimistic, he says, Palmieri may not move the needle, but he's better than Eberle. Just my 2 cents. I think they're relatively interchangeable. I think Palmieri probably has a little bit more grit to his game than Eberle does. That being said, both of those players are not game changers. They're not. Yeah. So, I think we need another game changer-esque type player, somebody who's got a, wicked wrist shot there, awesome release. That's what we're looking for. That being said, Doug G there says, what about the hole we have on defense now?
We'll sign a veteran. We will sign a veteran. It'll be an older guy, though, for certain. An Andy Green type. That's who will be, because they'll want to team up with Noah Dobson, because they don't trust Noah Dobson either. Just don't.
Jason T there saying Palmieri is coming back. And it will be a team-friendly deal. He wants to come home. They're bringing hockey back. He's bringing hockey back, Grump. I'll tell you, I think, hey, if he's willing to take a friendly deal, I'm all for it. If he wants $5 million, or if he's going to get $5 million, no freaking way. Sorry.
No. And that's my whole point. Don't overpay for the old guys.
Philip D also said, but I would like Philip Forsberg. Here's the thing. If you get Landeskog, you could sign him. You don't have to give up any other additional pieces. Forsberg going to cost you, just like Vladimir Tarasenko is going to cost you. I'm not sure what the price is going to be on those players, but there's no way in hell I see Tarasenko back with the Blues start next season.
Phil Forsberg's a left winger, though, so
I think that would be different from Landeskog. If you could sign a Landeskog, but here's the thing: is he actually interested in leaving Colorado?
Yeah, see, I don't think he is. I don't think he is. He has made it no secret that wouldn't you like to play with McKinnon and Rantanen as a third guy on that line? Please. Think about it. He's probably going to score like 30 or 40 points less a season coming to this team.
Frank K saying, I want to be known as the dinosaur team. And then Mark A said, I want Dougie Hamilton. I've seen a few people throw out Dougie Hamilton. Here's the thing. I know he's got one of those checkered passes. I checkered past. I hear he's a cancer in the locker room at times.
He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. That much he's going to get paid.
Kev Rock also said, Alec Martinez is 33 years old. You might get your wish, Grumpy.
Again, he's a guy, 3-year deal. Maybe I'd offer him maybe $4 million. I think he's going to get more than that. And I also heard that he wants to stay out on the West Coast. And he likes it out in Vegas. Remember, Vegas is in win now mode too.
Yeah. Alexander said, do you think the St. Louis would do this? Lead 2 second-round picks for Tarasenko?
Oh, I think they would. I think St. Louis would do that in a second.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I would make a deal like that.
But I have to think they would be leery of Anders Lee's contract.
Yeah. Now, Brian P. said, I read you loud and clear, grumpy old man. And John V. there said, New York Islanders legend Alec Martinez, despite never having played a game here. I know people are high on the Alec Martinez boat. I am too. I think he's a really good, solid player. But hey, I think there's still a lot of moves to be made here this offseason. What direction we're going to go in, I have no earthly idea. And that's one thing too, right? With Gar Snow, it was pretty transparent when things were going to happen. Kind of Art Staple could kind of tip us off. With Lou Lamoriello, nobody has any freaking idea. Your guess is as good as mine.
True.
That being said, moving right along there, grumpy old man. And then Rodney Lee there said, I'm not in on $5.5 million for Palmieri. And then
who would be in for that?
Give Kyle Palmieri $4 million with incentives.
No incentives. No incentives. Just, dude, that's your salary. No incentives. I'm sorry. The only one to be happy with $5.5 million for Palmieri will be his wife.
Oh God Almighty! I'm reading some comments, Grump. I like that, Grumpy old man. I'm reading some comments, and I'm like, oh, Rusty Smooter said the Hoover Dam is Roosevelt. TJ with his little question face there, laughing my fucking ass off. Carte blanche there, TJ. Carte blanche. Moving right along there. Carte blanche, carte blanche, right, Grumpy? What a Films there says, you can't control the grumpy old man. He's smart as a whip. I sure hope, though, he's wrong about Palmieri. I hope he's wrong about Palmieri. I love you, Grumpy.
Yeah, I hope I hope I am too. I do. I don't. If you want to give Kyle Palmieri 2 years, $3 million per, hey, I'm all for it. I don't want to see a 4-year deal. I don't want to see a 5-year deal. I don't want to see anywhere up of $4 million a year for that guy. To me, just not worth it. Just is not worth it.
Brett W said, I didn't hear that Bellows was added. I heard one source he was, one source he definitely wasn't, and one source said he will be gone. So, but no idea. Maybe he's not gone yet. They plan on moving him. Maybe he is gone, or maybe he's not gone. Who knows? I've heard that he's probably on the way out.
To me, it would be the best thing for his career, though.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
He can play. He can play. I mean, if you watched him in the couple of games he played last year, he can play. We wouldn't give him a shot, but that doesn't mean he can't play.
If I'm Kiefer Bellows, I would want out of New York too, because there's no way in hell I'm getting a chance. They've made it pretty clear and obvious that I have no chance to play here. So I'd want out too. That being said there, Rodney Lee also said, I don't see Lee with Bailey and Brock. Little too slow of a line. But
they play well together. That's what I'm going to say. They are slow, but they do play well together. I'm just telling you, they do play well together. They seem like they know what they're doing.
Kev Rock said, every time TJ or the Grumpy Old Man says, here's the thing, I take a shot. I'm wasted.
Yeah. There you go. We're here for you, Kev.
Oh, goodness.
Here's the thing. I don't think – do I say here's the thing?
Yeah, I think I say it the most.
Yeah.
I think we both say it a good bit, but I think I say it the most here. Scott Levy also said, Grumpy, what number would Tarasenko wear? 91's retired.
Maybe Butch, have a meeting, say Vladdy. I would love to give you the opportunity to wear 91. I'm sure he could wear another number, like 7.5 or something like that.
Alexander said, let's bring Tom Brady here to the Islanders. He's over 30. Goodness gracious.
He's the best player on our team, that's for certain.
Michael T said, Lou builds playoffs teams. That win playoff series to get to the semis 2 years in a row. We're ready to take that next step up. Hey, we're climbing up the mountain, and that's what I think. I think this offseason, he's seen, hey, we've gotten to the pinnacle the last 2 years. This is the drastic move. This is the bold move we need to make to go ahead and get over the hump to where now we're standing on top of the mountain. Okay. We're climbing all the way to the tippity top, and we're only halfway there.
Okay, once again, you use the word pinnacle incorrectly. When you're at the pinnacle, that means you're at the tippy top. If you think the pinnacle is the Eastern Conference champions, well, then you have a different idea of what the pinnacle really is. The pinnacle is winning the Stanley Cup. Now, like I said 2 years ago, and like I said this 2 offseasons ago and this offseason, this team is not good enough to win a Stanley Cup. It took Lou 2 years to come around to my way of thinking. Hopefully he realizes that we do need to make changes, and hopefully he's going to do that this summer. And making your big signing, re-signing Kyle Palmieri is not the answer.
Moving right along here, though, Grumpy Old Man. Rodney Lee there says Tarasenko with Barzal and Beauvillier, Bailey, Brock Nelson, Wally, Palmieri, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, Bellows, identity line. I hope we didn't get rid of Bellows. I think we did, and from what I hear, he's got no chance here. I mean, it's pretty obvious didn't play at all, didn't really have a chance here. But, if he's gone, I wish him nothing but the best. Again, because I don't have any malice towards it. It's the same thing. I hope Josh Hosang finally puts things together elsewhere. And again, I hope he has a road to redemption. He finds himself, and he's able to go ahead and be successful. I don't root for, failure for anybody unless they're a real asshole. I have never seen that from any of these players.
No, I don't root against any. I mean, it's these guys' livelihoods you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I hope, like I said, if Bellows is leaving, I hope he's not. But if he does, he's going to go and be successful somewhere. And if it's with Seattle, I think he'll really be successful on an expansion team.
Here it is there. Rodney Lee also said Vasilevsky has the largest equipment in the league. Insane balloon man. I did see that. Yeah, we talked about that. The equipment he wears is absolutely I saw him compared there to Carey Price, and it was substantial how much larger his padding looked.
He's a big guy.
Michael T said Stephen L is a grumpy old man fanboy.
Thank you, Michael.
And then Too much pessimistic. He said Mrs. Junior and Princess Pessimisticking on the landline / Lou from the landline says hi.
Mm-hmm. Yo. Good to see everybody in the house. Love it.
Jerry Springer said, TJ ignores all my comments. I'm going to be pissed. No, we don't ignore the comment. Hey, even somebody saying you're a jerk off, you're an idiot, I'm still going to show it because, hey, Try to keep us honest here, right? Hey, grumpy old man gets so much love. I've got to deflate him a little bit. Same thing that happens with me. Hey, if someone's coming at me, I'll make sure I show the comment.
Here's the thing, TJ. Nobody calls you a moron or insane or senile. I mean, the negative comments from me are like, they're taking personal shots at me. I don't care, of course, but nobody says that about you. Nobody.
I don't know, Grumpy. Joe F. there says, Grumpy old man, who are you trading for Tarasenko?
I mean, I don't want to trade Beauvillier. I really don't. I don't want to trade any of the young guys. I thought Eberle was a good match for them. I mean, now, I don't know. I guess I try to lowball him. I don't know what Philly, they say Philly's in the running. I don't see where he fits there, honestly. They still have Van Riemsdyk. So, I mean, to me, I don't know who I trade for them. I don't want to get rid of young guys. I just don't. I mean, Bailey goes back the other way, but I really don't want to even lose Bailey at this point in time. But I do want Tarasenko. I'm sorry. That was a weak ass answer. I'm sorry.
So you have no idea what you give up there.
I don't. I can tell you who I don't want to give up. That much I can tell you.
Here's what I think is going to happen.
Would I move Bellows in a package for him? Yes. That I would do.
Here's what I think is going to happen, and it's unfortunate. I don't think we're going to get Landeskog. I think we're going to trade Beauvillier. I think we're going to use him as a piece to go ahead and get Tarasenko, and I think we're going to sign Zach Parise, and we're going to stick Zach Parise on the second line as a left winger. That's what I think is going to happen, and it's going to drive me insane because I think that's neutral. That's net neutral for me because I think Tarasenko is an upgrade over Eberle, but I think Zach Parise is definitely a step down over Beauvillier. And now you've got whoever you've replaced Nick Leddy with, and you're like, okay, that could be a wash too, depending on who we get. I am worried about that. That is something I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of because they're hot on Zach Parise.
Yeah, then you have nobody to drive the second line. Nobody.
The Zoo said Gab. I don't even, what is this, Grumpy? Do you know what this means? Gab, Bobay, Bafan, but I don't know. Banana. What is that, like a song, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you do it for me, Grumpy?
No, I can't.
Grumpy, I need you to do it for me. I need you to muster the strength to do what that is.
Landy be coming. That's it. He goes. Gab, Bobby, Fanana, for Webby. Goalies can't make saves against Gab. Landy coming. I can't.
Grump, I was hoping you're going to do a little more than me. People like to hear you sing there, Grumpy. Randy from the Zoo here, excited. If you guys cannot tell, hey, if they're gonna bring over Landeskog there, man, I'm not going to complain. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I try to taper my expectations. That one I think is a little far fetched. I do think that Tarasenko looks more and more like a reality every day. Two-minute specimen sticking said, in their limited time playing together, the Islanders, I feel that Bellows is better than Koivula. My 2 cents.
Agreed. He is better than Koivula.
Kev Rock says, when Lou wins his GM of the year for the 3rd year in a row, I hope he thanks the grumpy old man.
They should just name it the Lou Lamoriello Memorial Award. That's what they should name it.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I mean, how did he win it last year? How did he win it 2 years? Last year, he certainly didn't deserve to win it. 2 years ago, not really either. But last year, definitely not. The Zito guy from Florida should have got that. Oh, yeah, gosh, yeah.
Rich Arnold said, oh, man, remember Lou's Kovalchuk deal?
Oh, yeah. I think New Jersey's still paying for that deal.
Yeah.
Did the same thing in Toronto, too, the same things. He protected Matt Martin in Toronto, if you can imagine that. With that young loaded roster, he protected Matt freaking Martin.
He's protected Matt Martin twice.
Think about that.
God almighty.
The $4.5 million man.
Dirk C said Beauvillier will be traded with picks for Tarasenko, in my opinion.
I don't like that move. I don't want to give up any young guys. I know we're all in, but Beauvillier, now talk about a guy who performs in the playoffs. Beauvillier is a better player performer than Kyle freaking Palmieri. I can tell you that much. He scores against all teams.
I did want to show you something that our boy Phil Fax went ahead and tweeted out. You love Phil. I like Phil Grumpy. I know you love Phil Grumpy. Got a little tweet there from Phil Fax, and I thought this was interesting. You talk about there Eberle, the impact he may or may not have had there for the Islanders. Grump, I just want you to look at this here. In the Trotz era, Jordan Eberle has missed 15 games. The Islanders' record over those 15 games was 13-1-1. with the only one loss coming against the regulation loss coming against the Devils this year when they benched a few starters the last week of the season.
So what Phil is trying to say is if Kyle Palmieri is not on this team, we're going to go undefeated. Is that what he's saying?
No. Jordan Eberle. What?
I'm sorry. If Jordan Eberle's not here, we're going to go undefeated.
I don't know. It looks like that, grumpy old man. We could be looking at the President's Trophy this next year.
This sounds like pushing Leo Komarov as a first liner comments here.
No. I saw that and I was like, I like that. I like that, grumpy old man. I had to show it. Moving right along there. Thomas Bach there said, I just heard there were no trades there regarding the Islanders.
If there were no trades, that's a good thing. Then that's really a win on expansion draft day.
Here's the thing. Yeah, exactly. If they took Jordan Eberle straight up and we didn't have to trade anything, awesome. That's excellent. Who the hell knows? We're looking at, oh man, I'm seeing so many different things there. Oh, just that the Islanders are interested there in Parise Center. Oh my God.
Again, why do we want to make ourselves the oldest team in the league? Is that the goal? I'm sorry.
Paulo C there said, Grumpy, Palmieri's not the problem. He's a good third liner. The first line's a problem. No, Palmieri's not going to sign. No, Palmieri is going to sign for about $3.5 to $4 million, but I'd sign him just for a 2-year deal. Hey man, if he's willing to take that short type of deal, hey, I'm all for it.
And I don't want to give him $4 million. I might be willing to go 3.5, maybe. But the fact is, he's a third line player, and that's exactly what he is, a third line player. But if you don't get somebody else for your first line, they're just going to elevate him. That's what they'll do.
And we got another comment here. Michael T said, I think Grumpy has PTSD from the Garth Snow, Mike Milbury days.
I remember those days like they were yesterday. I'll never forget watching on ESPN the draft when we picked Rick DiPietro. I was stunned when you read the little ticker on the bottom. That's before, everyone was putting news out every 2 seconds. Seeing they traded Roberto Luongo, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? To pick Rick DiPietro? And he liked him because he was a brash kid from Boston. That's why he liked him. That's why I drafted him first, because, he had an attitude. He was from Boston. I'm like, what are you, an asshole?
He's from Boston.
How'd that work out? Talk about an epic fail.
Excellent.
But here's the thing. You knew it right then. You knew it.
The zoo there. He says also, I love the aside there from Mark Giordano there. Jordan was the most expensive pick. Go, Lou, go. Way to free up that cap space.
And
hey,
I think
you got to use it in the right way.
That's a good move by the Kraken, honestly, because Giordano can get moved at the trade deadline. He's an older defenseman, but I feel they will trade him at the trade deadline and get some assets for him. Absolutely.
Yeah, why not? Alexander also said Simon Holmstrom will score 25 goals. And Dirk says, you watch, Grumpy. Simon the Great will prove you so wrong. Hey, I'm not even going to say it. I was about to say I got another shirt idea, but I'm still working on so many shirts. So maybe I should go ahead and put this one on the back burner.
Yeah. He might score 25 goals over the course of his career. That's cool.
Stop, Grumpy. Oh, my goodness.
In the minors.
Brian J said, we need more Leos on this team. I'm a huge fan of Leo's game. He's got to be being sarcastic. Anyway, Michael O'Donnell just said, just buy out Leo and Hickey. It's very feasible. Ed A there said, besides Landeskog, who's available as a free agent that we might want?
We'll do that for Saturday's podcast.
Are you trying to give him a little piece to come back for, Grump?
Absolutely.
Ah, okay. Don't reveal all secrets.
Expansion draft, because here's the thing. Until you find out who's on your team and who's on other teams and gets picks in the expansion draft, then you can look. Because, Seattle has already signed Adam Larson and Jamie Olesic, the goalie. The defenseman, 2 defensemen. $4.6 million for him. The market has been set for Adam Pelech.
Yeah.
I think you're delusional if you think he makes less than 5.
Told you, I thought it was going to be around that. I thought he's going to make a good chunk of change, to be honest. I think even though he doesn't bring as much as the offensive prowess, I've said that the entire time. Moving right along there, grumpy old man. Mark S said, I would love to see Barzy play with a guy like Vladdy Tarasenko. Would absolutely love it. Not saying they'd be like LaFontaine and McGillney, but hey, it'd be good.
They would be good. That's the type of player that Matt Barzal needs to play with. That a sniper. And here's the thing: if they put Wallstrom's not afraid to go into corners, and neither is Tarasenko, and neither is Barzal. I mean, I think Tarasenko is no floater out there. He's no Josh Bailey out there. I mean, he's going for it, and he's not afraid to shoot the puck. And Oliver Wallstrom too. I just think that would be like a match made in heaven. Really would be.
Then Ed A also said that would suck if Bellows is gone. Brian P said I'd give Landeskog a 5-year deal, $7 million per.
He's not taking that. He's not going to take that. That his thing. If he'd take that, yeah, I'm all in for that.
Kev Rock said, I have a serious question. There's a lot of negativity here, even when they freed up cap. What's the news in a week or so when the result of actual or so? What is the news? I'm sorry, I'm retarded. I'm not allowed to say.
Let me read it. I have a serious question. There's a lot of negativity here, even though they freed cap. What news is next week?
What news next week or so?
Would result in an actual positive vibe podcast. I know Grumpy is the brand, but what move would result in a positive reaction? If we bring in new players who are difference makers who can elevate the team, period. That would be a positive podcast, without a doubt, because I'm ecstatic that we got salary cap. Absolutely ecstatic. My concern is that we don't use it wisely, or we say, let's Zach Parise, Ryan Suter, Kyle Palmieri. To me, that doesn't move the needle. We need some move the needle players. We get Tarasenko, that's going to be a positive, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm just pessimistic because I've seen what he's done in the past, which is overpay guys that are already on the team, which I always feel is a mistake, and guys in their 30s. That's what I don't want to see.
Sal P said the fourth line have all been great Islanders. Hey, but they're fading. I don't think it was important to protect Martin or Clutterbuck there, and Casey should not get more than a year or two.
I would love to pay Casey for 2 more years tops. Actually 3. I would be willing to go 3, but no more than that. And he's right. They are a fading line. There's nothing wrong with it. They were great at in their time, but that time's passed. Sorry.
Brian J said, how many goals will Leo score on the first line on the Avalanche there? How do you think, Grumpy? First line.
2.
Hey, if you listen or read the Islanders Inquirer, I'm pretty sure we can get we can get the rights mate. Well, I can't trade for the rights of Landeskog. Or can you technically still trade for the rights of an individual if you want to give? Yeah, we could technically trade for the rights of Landeskog. Maybe we can give up their Leo Komarov. I mean, I think we might be overpaying in that scenario, but hey, maybe we could trade there for the rights of Landeskog.
Okay, here's the thing. You would never, ever see Colorado make the mistake of playing Leo Komarov on the first line. Not going to happen.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Moving right along there. A 2-minute specimen said, Islanders Twitter site did not mention Bellows leaving. Did I miss something? All I know is, again, we might be jumping the gun. I've had some people tell me that Bellows was on the way out as well as a pick there in order to make the Seattle Kraken take Jordan Eberle. I heard from another source that it was nothing at all, that Bellows is still here, and there was no trade involved. Hearing conflicting items back and forth. We will not know until tomorrow at 1 p.m. So I want to say.
Cool.
Yep. And then to especially said the official Islanders Twitter did not mention Bellows leaving. Did I miss something? They just can't announce it yet until 1 p.m. It's crazy how they're keeping that under wraps, though, of course.
Trade freeze.
That being said, moving right along there. Michael T there said Panarin all along wanted to go to the Rangers. He never had a shot at being the Islanders. It was all propaganda.
He used us to get the Rangers to pony up some more cash. That's what he did. But he had no one else. It was us and the Rangers. He would have signed. I heard he would have signed with us if the Rangers did not up their contract offer, which they did. We offered more money than the Rangers to begin with. At the end of the day.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? That's how it always happens, it seems like. But maybe this year, I tell you, now we got the arena. Hey, we can never have the complaint. Remember, for a long time, sycophants there, the team said, well, it's because we didn't have the arena. A Nassau Coliseum's, it's this, it's that, or our practice facilities aren't so great, or this happened, or that happened. That's why people don't want to go to us, because we're a joke. Well, now all that is dispelled. There should be nothing hindering us going after real legitimate free agents. We are in New York, one of the largest markets in the entire world. Even though, hey, we're not in New York or anything like that. We're not at Madison Square Garden. We're still in New York nonetheless.
We're not in Buffalo.
Was that?
We're not in Buffalo.
That's
I
true.
mean, the only thing it would stop free agents from signing, goal scorers or players like that is they don't want to play for Barry Trotz in that system where they're going to have to subjugate their game. And I think that's a real concern. I really do.
Michael T said maybe you let Montreal have Beauvillier to get Landeskog or Tarasenko. I just think they're going to have to get. I just think they're going to have to, if they were to get rid of Anthony Beauvillier, it's going to be they're going to trade him for value. They're just not going to let him walk and get him picked up by another guy to go ahead and lose him in restricted free agent.
No, that's not going to
happen. Scott Levy said, TJ, it's Suter. And he's not one of the Sutter brothers. It's pronounced Suter.
That's right, TJ.
Michael B. there said, I just watched Eberle on stage in Seattle. The man looked heartbroken.
Well, I think they had good fish, good seafood there. So,
Rob A. there said, you guys are awesome. Appreciate it there, Rob. And Michael B. also said, I agree with Grumpy. Off season, it's over. Devils 2.0.
I think that's what bothers me the most of Devils players. On a losing team, I mean, that's what you're going to put yourself over the top. Old Devils players, no.
And then, hey, Brian P said "Falling Down" is a great movie. I got to check it out. I'm hearing a lot of positive vibes there about it.
Frederick Forrest is in it too. Good movie.
Chad Cooley there said Kraken just traded for goalie Goldberg out of Minnesota. Go Kraken!
All right.
Oh, Kev Rock said, please don't trade Beauvillier. Covering Barzy is exhausting. Beauvillier is a mini Barzal. Wears teams out.
He's one of the only two players on the whole team who you have to worry about on offense. That's it. And maybe Wahlstrom. That's it. Nobody else. You don't need to worry about anybody else on this team. You have to game plan for Anders Lee, Josh Bailey, Nelson, Leo.
Yes, you have to prep for Leo. That's extensive prep work too. Brian J said, "I want Vince Dunn, but we have someone better than Dunn. We've got Andy Green."
39-year-old Andy Green, another ex-Devil. Hey, fits the mold, doesn't it? He'll be 40 next year. You watch him sign another contract.
Ariel C there said, I just don't know how we sign all of our restricted free agents and Palmieri and get a big fish. Again, if we move, from what I hear, if we're planning on moving there Hickey and we're planning on moving there Komarov, which is what I heard. Again, who knows how true, reliable the sources are, but we would have more cap available. Right now, we're sitting at about 22.5 million. So again, if you're able to get guys like Palmieri on the cheap, you're able to get guys like Beauvillier on the cheap. If you're able to get Pellick there around 5, if you're able to get Cizikas near the cheap. Like a lot of these players are taken, wouldn't be crazy to think of. I think we could be in good shape.
Well, let's see. I just think it's interesting. I think the next week is going to be really, really important. And I don't know. But I mean, we need to get a big fish. You can't play status quo if you want to get better. You can't do it.
Ariel C said, also, if we sign Palmieri, which is what a lot of people are saying, we aren't getting a big fish. That is our big fish. I hope not.
And see, that's my concern. That is my concern. He's not a difference maker. He just isn't. And if they pay him like one, it's even worse.
Eberle checking in as Clint Eastwood.
Ho.
Grumpy, anytime I see something like that, I see something movie related. I'm hoping you're going to understand what's going on there.
Well, maybe I don't see what Eberle looked like.
Okay, gotcha. And then Kev Rock said Green was solid in the playoffs. I can't throw shade at him, but hey, Vince Dunn is a left-handed defenseman. We could definitely use him.
Yeah, but they're not. That's somebody Seattle's going to keep. They're not getting rid of a 24-year-old left-handed defenseman. He didn't have a great year last year, but he's a good defenseman, a good young defenseman. They're not getting – only the Islanders get rid of 24-year-old good left-handed defensemen for a couple of second-round picks. Not any other team. Not any teams with brains don't do that.
You're making a little throwback there to our boy Devontae's.
You can make any assumptions you like when it comes to that.
You can draw any conclusion. One says, is anyone chosen tonight going to get their number retired in Seattle? Expansion teams need superstars.
No.
Sorry. Okay. Hey, fair enough there. I thought it was an interesting question.
How many expansion teams? How many expansion teams have guys who get their numbers retired? Well, maybe that's. I mean, Billy Smith got his number retired, but I mean, most don't.
Here's my question for you there, grumpy old man. I just don't think they're going to be as good and take off as quickly as the Vegas Golden Knights did. If they do take off and have instant success, again, I didn't think that the Vegas Golden Knights were going to light the world on fire either, but they did. If they're, I just think they'll be very successful coming out the bat.
What did Vegas do though? They signed a lot of younger guys who maybe were just starting to come into their game, and they gave them a chance. Not a lot of vets. Not a lot of older guys, a lot of younger guys. And then they augmented with older players. That's what you need to do. Like Marchessault, Riley Smith, Carlson, those Shea Theodore. They were all younger players who just, they showed promise but hadn't gotten a full shot yet. And that's what you try to sign. I don't think Seattle's done that with a lot of the guys on their expansion list, though. I think you're right.
Sal P also said, it's not Sutter, it's Ryan Suter. Pronounced Suter. I got it. I apologize, guys. Greg R. there says, which do you think is more realistic? Kyle Palmieri re-signing or getting one of Landeskog or Tarasenko? Hey, if I'm thinking which one's more realistic, if I had to pick between the two, re-signing Kyle Palmieri, I think it's more realistic than expecting Tarasenko or Landeskog.
I don't think Landeskog will come here. Like I said, I feel he's Colorado. I want Tarasenko, but unfortunately, I feel like TJ. Palmieri has Lou Lamoriello move written all over it. It just does. Unfortunately, it does.
One also says there, why don't any hockey fans, Edna, have any faith in Ron Francis?
Why doesn't any hockey, Dina?
Why don't any hockey fans have faith in Ron Francis, Grumpy?
Well, because he hasn't done anything. Carolina didn't turn around until he left. He was I'm telling you something though. He was a really good hockey player back in his day. Really good. Hartford, and then Pittsburgh, and then at the end Carolina.
Yeah,
good player, Hall of Famer.
Ed A said, "No way I'd give up there on Beauvillier."
Yeah, I don't believe in that would be the type of guy that Vegas would have drafted a couple of years ago if he was left exposed. Be Beauvillier, and those guys turn into stars. You know who doesn't turn into stars? Kyle Palmieri's, Suitors.
Gotcha. Anyway, moving right along there, Grump. Greg R. said, watch Lou's next move be he'll bring in Parise, Suter, and Palmieri there. The New Jersey Islanders.
Well, don't expect to be as good as last year.
Kev Rock also said, I've got inside information that we're going to let Casey walk and we're going to sign Scott Sissons.
No. Nice joke though, Kev. I think they want Casey back no matter what, and I think they'll open the bank for him. Those are mistakes. You don't make mistakes like that with veterans. Give them they don't want to leave. First of all, they don't want to leave, so you use that as an advantage to you. Casey Zeke has been here for how many years? 9, 10 years.
Drafted by the Islanders.
I mean, he doesn't want to leave. I'm not saying you lowball him, but you don't blow him out of the water with an offer. You don't need to. Give him 3 years, $3 million per. I mean, I think he's going to get more than that in the open market. And for Palmieri, just bought a house here. Well, okay, 2 years, $6 million. There you go.
Greg also says there, Braden Colburn is probably going to be the vet defensive move. No.
Not even, but you know what? That's funny.
Yeah, no. And Jerry Springer said, Grump, what are you going to do when Tara's shoulder gets injured? Tarasenko, Tara's shoulder. I like the little play on words.
I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to take that risk. I really am. You know what? No risk, no reward.
Absolutely, Grump. Moving right along there, Kev Rock also said, we missed Lee a bunch. The power play was struggling, and we lost 1-0 in Game 7, giving up a shorthanded goal. I 100% believe Lee would have pushed us over the top.
No. Tampa Bay just would have upped their game a little bit more. I believe they just toyed with us for the most part. I do. The one game they came out pissed was a game they beat us 8-0. I don't think they even could. They were just better than everybody. I felt I almost sleptwalked through the playoffs this year. The toughest round they had was the first round against Florida. That was one where they were pushed to the wall against Florida.
And then Ariel C said, people think we're going to re-sign Palmieri, get Parise, Suter, and Tarasenko. Now, those are the fans I feel bad for. They've got way too high hopes.
I would just hope to get Tarasenko. That's what I would hope.
And again, there's always stipulations. Hey, he's got to be healthy. And there's always big portions there of that too, Grum.
I'm all in on Tarasenko. All in. Pushing all my chips to the center of the table.
Adrian there saying, hey, TJ, hey, grumpy old man, what's up?
Yo, Adrian, Tampa's not repeating, baby.
Moving right along there. Alexander said, isn't Brandon Saad a free agent? He can replace Beauvillier if he's traded.
He's kind of nothing from what he used to be either.
He had, his first stint in Chicago, he was excellent. And again, he came back. I've always liked his style, Brandon Saad's style. But again, he's another one of those older vets.
Yeah, he's nowhere near the player that he was. I remember when Columbus traded him for Panarin. I'm like, what are you, crazy? He went back to Chicago and he nowhere near the player he used to be. He would be the type of guy we'd bring in, though, a washed-up veteran. Remo.
Lazoo said, nice stab at it, Grumpy.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't good. I know it wasn't good. I know where he was going with it, but it wasn't good.
Ariel C also saying there, Tarasenko's value isn't as high as some people think now, though. No one traded for him prior to the draft, and Kraken didn't pick him. I think the ball is on in other teams' courts now, not St. Louis. I know there was 4 teams apparently that were interested in Tarasenko straight up to take the entire cap hit. I know Seattle said they would entertain the possibility of maybe picking him and then dealing him, retaining a certain portion of the cap hit, but that didn't happen, obviously, so you kind of wonder how low the offers were then.
We are in prime position to trade for him. I don't want to give away the house, though, because, like I said, it's $7.5 million in cap with a guy coming off 3 shoulder surgeries. I think he's going to be 100% healthy. I think he's going to be a great fit for Barzal. I'd love to see him here, but I don't want to give up Anthony Beauvillier to get him. That's why I thought maybe an Eberle and some picks maybe would work. A second-round pick, but no.
Michael T. also said Parise and Sutter would help out the power play tremendously.
What, the other teams?
Stop. No, Parise would help on the power play, but here's the thing. Tarasenko would help on the power play. I think Tarasenko is a step up over Eberle on the power play.
Okay, Parise can't play anymore. Parise cannot play anymore. He was a healthy scratch 10 games in Minnesota last year. He can't play anymore. I think Suter can play, but he doesn't play any defense. How does he fit this team? You got to look at fit. He doesn't play any defense.
Too much pessimistic says the Tennessee Valley Authority, Bald Eagles, and Grumpy Old Man singing. The History Channel, Nat Geo, and MTV right here. I love it there. And then Brett W says there, Koivula needs to learn how to throw that big body around if he ever wants an NHL career. I do agree. He needs to be more physical down there. But again, he's a guy he's got adequate skating, I think, for his size at 6'5". He's got silky smooth hands. I think you can teach him a little bit to be a little more physical there. Again, here's the thing. If you tell him your only way to make it is by throwing the body a little more often, you show a little bit more physicality out there, throwing your 6'5" frame around, then you can kind of go ahead and showcase your skills, the other skills you have. I think that's a little more enticing to a kid than saying, hey, we're going to stick you down here in EA for the next, 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
But the whole thing is they won't give him a shot. This is a perfect time to give, what is he, 23, 24 now?
Couldn't tell you off the top of my head, Grumpy.
Okay, but this is the perfect time to give a younger player like that a shot on the 4th line instead of re-signing a 30-year-old veteran to a long-term deal. How are these guys ever going to get a chance to play if you keep on signing older players to just play those same old roles when they're past their peak? 22
years old, will be 23 at the start of next season. That being said, right? Okay. I do believe he needs time, but it needs to be a short-term contract if you sign back Casey. Because, if you bring in Otto Koivula and you play him over Casey, that is a net negative. Your team gets worse. It does. Your team, you want to take a step forward. That does not help your fourth line take a step forward. That brings your fourth line a step back, in my opinion.
You got to give the young guys a chance. They have upside. The guys in their 30s have no upside. You know where they are. Their level is here, if any, or going down. It's never going to be up. It's going to be the same or lower. Young guys can give you a chance to improve your game, particularly over the course of the season. If it's all about the playoffs, you give the young guys a shot during the season, let them play, let them increase their experience, get better and better, their natural skills will take over, and come playoff time, you have a higher ceiling than you do with the older players. It's not rocket science, it really isn't.
Mike L. there says, is Connor Garland still in the mix, or is that a wash?
I like Connor Garland. He's a younger player. That's a guy I thought they should have went after. At the trade deadline, I would have much rather have somebody like that than a Kyle Palmieri. Why? Because he's 25 years old, and he's somebody that that produces now and for years to come. Those are the type of players that I want to go for. I don't want to go for somebody who's a 30-year-old unrestricted free agent. That's not what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to build the team for now and the future. I thought Connor Garland would have been a much better acquisition at the trade deadline than Kyle Palmieri.
I'm sure he was more expensive than Palmieri was too.
First-round draft pick? If they're looking to move him now, you don't think you could have got him for a first-round draft pick at the trade deadline? They could have.
Brian P. there said, it's amazing. The Islanders fall apart 2 years in a row. In the 2019-2020 season, COVID hits us. It saves us there from collapsing and missing the playoffs. And this year, 56 games, a great start again. First place in the second half there. We go 14-12-2. We fall apart there and finish the last spot. And Lou Lamoriello wins GM of the Year. The award's a joke. That being said, hey, GM of the Year is voted on there at the end of the regular season. So they have no idea at all about postseason success or postseason possibilities. So we gave Lou Lamoriello the award because he made a trade there for Kyle Palmieri, stayed afloat, and made the playoffs.
What they didn't tell you is that the only three people who vote for that award are Lou Lamoriello, Chris Lamoriello, and Chris's mom, Mrs. Lamoriello. And Lou from the landline. So
I was about to say, Lou from the landline, I heard, was submitting a vote too.
No, but you know what? But Brian's not wrong on that, right? And why is that? Because of our style of play, which is everything's a grind. Everything's a grind, right? Older players wear down over the course of the season. I'm worried about next year. But then you hear, the NHL is going to take off for the Olympic Games in February, a 2-week break. That could help the Islanders again, right? Because, but that's seriously, that's the thing. Older guys playing that style, they just wear out. And that's why another reason why you want to play the younger guys. Just stylistically, it's just too difficult over the haul. We did benefit from having 2 shortened seasons back to back. I just don't think we're going to get that benefit next year. And everyone's going to be, oh my gosh, now we're terrible. No, we're the same team we were, but it's just a bunch of old guys. That's why you got to infuse young talent. Sorry.
Too much pessimistic said, if you young whippersnappers think snow was bad, Milbury was way worse. Amen to that.
Milbury was hideous, horrible.
Kev Rock also said, I was at the draft party when DiPietro trade happened, and I stood and I booed when we traded away Luongo. The fans around me were mad. I feel you there, Grump.
Well, here's the thing. Most Islander fans, anything the team does is great. Anything the team does is great. Well, you know what? Sorry, I'm not in that camp. And here's the thing. I used to be like that when I was, 10 years old.
Yeah, oh, come on, Grump.
But I grew up, I
was running around when you were 10 years old, Grump.
Let me tell you, like I said, the most crushing defeat. But I never thought about breaking the team up back in the day. You got to remember, I was, in my teens and, early 20s when we were winning cups. And, for me, I never thought the team could do anything wrong. Never. But, you look at that team, the way it was, all the guys were young when we started getting good. When we were losing to Toronto, the worst loss ever for me, ever. I can't think of any loss for an Islander fan than losing Game 7 in overtime, that piece of garbage Lanny McDonald scoring that winner. That was the worst loss for me. Even worse than losing to the Rangers the next year. But our guys were only 24, 25 years old then. We were just coming into our prime, and that's when we won our cups. That's why and by the time we were finished, most of the guys were in their 30s. That's why I've seen this before. Guys who are in their 30s don't get better. They don't age like wine. They age like vinegar. And, man, the Luongo trade was a nightmare for me. Just a nightmare. You knew that was bad.
We're going to get through rapid fire here, Grump. Ryan P. also said, and Milbury, he said he was always a great puck mover. Wow, he blew, talking about Rick DiPietro. Paulo C. there said, TJ, forget about Parise. We don't need another old third or fourth liner. Understand there. Alexander also saying, he shares the same sentiment there. He said, oh, my God, when they picked Rick DiPietro, Grumpy, I went ballistic. I just couldn't believe what they were doing. I had my buddy tell me that, watch, he's going to be the next Martin Brodeur. And I just threw my hands up there saying, like, what the F?
His best, they said DiPietro's best skill, it's like Josh Bailey's best skill is that he's smart. Rick DiPietro's best skill was handling the puck. As a goalie, I want your best skill to be stopping the puck. I don't care if you can skate like Mario Lemieux or pass like Wayne Gretzky. Can you stop the puck? Just like Josh Bailey. Nobody ever says that Josh Bailey's a great player. They just say he's smart. Boy, he's brainy. He's so smart out there. I take a guy who, boy, he's a great player. He's a great goal scorer. He's a great shooter. Not a great mind, sorry. Coach then.
Ed A. also says there, we don't need Parise. He was a healthy scratch at crunch time for the Wild.
He's done. He's done. Finished. Mm-hmm. Lou likes him because he drafted him 45 years ago.
Brian P. said there's no NHL, AHL, or ECHL team that would employ Leo on the first line except us.
There's not even a beer league team that would put him on the first line.
Jerry Springer says, bro, Grumpy, how is the four lines time passed, or the fourth line's time passed if they went to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals?
Because they're not as good as they were. In the regular season, they played maybe one good game out of 5. And maybe that's being generous. I thought they were a little bit better in the playoffs, but they were outplayed against Tampa. They were outplayed at times against Boston and Pittsburgh. The fourth line is nowhere near as good as it used to be. They had spurts where they were good, but if you look at their overall play, they were not good. They were dominated in time of possession. They were always good, just trying to get the puck out of their zone. There's a reason why they played like 10 minutes a night. There's a reason.
Moving right along there. And Paulo there, C said, we probably should have protected Eberle and unprotected Clutterbuck instead to make a trade there for Eberle, unless Lou knows better what's going on. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Hopefully Lou does know better. My whole thing is I would have exposed everyone who made money and forced them to pick one of those players. Or then, if you want to pick a young guy, make it be somebody who has no shot of playing on this team ever. A Parker Wotherspoon, if that's the guys they want to pick.
Parker Wotherspoon, Grump, you are bringing it back there now. Parker Wotherspoon, he's a guy who really I was expecting to make a real stab at it, this last year. Again, our defense is kind of filled out, but he's a guy who's up there. I mean, he's definitely one of those older AHL guys, and I thought he played well when I saw him in Bridgeport in a limited time. But I mean, again, you see Sam Bullducks, you see the Robin Salos, you see the Bodie Wilds. You're like, okay, Parker Wotherspoon has no chance.
And guess who else has no chance? Robin Salo, Samuel Bolduc. Those guys have no shot of playing on this team this year. None. Just none.
Mm-hmm. A grumpy old man. Moving right along here through the comments. Sorry about that there. Got a comment here from Reform Realty, South Florida Homes and Luxury Estates. Longtime fan, but I'm not up to speed on the draft. Who will we get? Who will we lose? We're not going to be getting anybody back in return. We're just going to be losing there, Eberle. And if you're talking about the NHL draft, we've got some work done there on that, but that's a little far off there in the future. We'll be prepping for that.
Well, you realize the draft is Friday, right? Well, for
next Friday?
For us, Saturday is the draft. Yeah.
Oh shit!
And free agency starts next week.
The draft is this Saturday.
Yep. Friday for the teams who have first round picks. So for the Islanders, Saturday.
God almighty. Well, I've done some prepping for the draft. Oh my God. I don't know why the hell I thought it. Oh man. Oh man. I'll tell you, it depends. I mean, like, I feel like we've got to go forward. I feel like we're not picking defensemen. There are some, here's the thing. There's a lot of good offensive defensemen here in this year's draft. There's a lot of guys that I think could slip, again, because there's not a lot of film you see on these guys. Like, you could see like a Sloville slip all the way to like mid to late second round picks. Sometimes you see him in like, the early first to mid to late first round selection. You see a lot of guys like that. It just really depends on what's going to happen. I think we're going to be able to find, if again, we've done our scattering well there, I think we can find there, hopefully a steal there. Tyler Boucher. He's a guy too. He's one of those heavy hitting forwards. He's, Grumpy might not like this. He puts points up on the board, but he's a real physical type of guy. He plays, whistle to whistle. He's going there. I can't remember. He's going to, I think he's committed somewhere in college. There's a few guys out there I've got my eyes on, but I mean, we got to prep for that big time grumpy old man.
What position does he play?
He's a winger, I believe, right wing.
Okay. If it's me drafting, I'm drafting anyone who has high offensive skill. Forwards. That's what I'm drafting. It's the one thing we have nothing of in this organization. I don't want the Simon Holmstroms or the Lundkrantzes. I want guys who you say, okay, that guy makes me gets me out of my seat because he's got ability that other people don't have, or he's a goal scorer. I don't want somebody, you know what? He plays a solid two-way game. Our whole team is guys who play solid two-way games, except for the one guy who, anytime he makes a mistake, gets benched. But
I think there are guys you can get later in this year's draft that have offensive talent. Again, like when I'm thinking about that, Grump, I think like Elias Stentman. He's a winger that I wouldn't mind us taking a stab there out there. And again, there's a lot of foreign guys. Oh man, Grump, you put me on the spot.
No, that's okay. We can do that Saturday after the draft is over, and you can say who they should have picked, except they're going to pick Hammonegger one.
Simon Mothew is another guy too. I mean, Jackson Blake, I believe it is. I mean, there's a few forwards I'm thinking of that could be late round steals. But again, we're going to bring on Slouching. Will Slouching there from the Slouching Report there. He covers a lot about the NHL draft. He's going to be coming on there after the Islanders draft. We have a chance to kind of talk with him, pick his brain on some of the guys who the Islanders selected. Again, a big guy on the drafts there. And again, he is very, very knowledgeable in that regard. But Grumpy, moving right along there. 100% agree with Grumpy. That's why we think the game in the same way. Offensive players don't want to play this kind of system.
Can you blame them? Can you blame them? If you were Wayne Gretzky, would you ever sign here? Nope. Mario Lemieux? Nope. Mike Bossy? Nope. If Mike Bossy played for us, instead of having 500 and whatever he had, I don't know how many goals, he maybe would have had 150 goals. Why? Because it'd be first of all, he never would have been drafted by us, ever. Why? Because he doesn't play any defense. You got to put pucks in the net. Scoring goals is the best way to do it. But like I said, we had a chance a couple of years ago. Philip Tomasino, Arthur Kaliev, Connor McMichael. Those are the guys we should have drafted instead of Casper, the unfriendly ghost Holmstrom. And then last year we drafted a third-round grinder. I just don't want grinders. We don't need those. You can sign grinders anywhere. That's what we do now, right? We bring in the Richard Panicks of the world, or the Travis Zajaks, or the Kyle Palmieris. We don't need guys like that. We need high-end offensive talent. That's what we need.
Rusty Spooner there said, TJ, you absolutely have to watch Falling Down. Trust me, Grumpy didn't ruin it. Okay, maybe I didn't ruin it. Dirk there, he said, gotta go to work there, but thanks for the shows. Appreciate you tuning in there, Dirk. Two Mets of Pessimistic. He said, Islanders will retire the letters G, O, and M one day for the grumpy old man.
Hopefully before they retire 1, 2.
Oh, goodness. Oh, right before they retire Josh Bailey, huh? Look at you. John O'Neill said, where's the rumor coming from that we gave up Bellows to the Kraken? I'm hearing that there. Coach Tommy B's got some sources on the inside. He was telling me that they said either he's gone. He heard from one, hey, they're gone. Other one, not so much. Other one that he's on the way out. So again, here's the thing. I would be pleasantly surprised and happy if they just selected Eberle and we did not have to give anything up. We will find out come tomorrow around 1 o'clock.
Yeah, like I said, I'm happy. Another 5.5 off the cap is just how we spend it. You see, TJ, he's just talking shit, and he knows it riles me up. Trading Kiefer Bellows, signing Kyle Palmieri, guaranteed we'll sign Kyle Palmieri, guaranteed. Those type of things. Just let me be fat, dumb, and happy, thinking that we're going to get Tarasenko, because Kyle Palmieri is not even on my radar.
Gevrock said, honestly, though, we argue, we disagree, but how fun is this? 90% of the league's other teams aren't having these conversations. We're relevant, and I love it.
True. Thank you.
For certain there. Moving right along there, Michael T there says, would give up Beauvillier if Montreal overpaid because supposedly they really want him because he's a French-speaking player. Yeah, he's from Quebec, I believe. But I heard that, right? Did you see Eyes on Isles saying if we wanted to give up Beauvillier, they're going to have to give up at least Nick Suzuki or Cole Caulfield?
If they,
I would take that in a heartbeat. I'm like, hey, if you're going to package up some prospects and give us Suzuki or Cole Caulfield, I do it. But here's the thing: if they come to the Islanders, they're going to be sitting in the A for the next 3 years, getting ripe on the vine.
Cole Caulfield would never play for this team. He's too small. He doesn't play any defense. Suzuki would have a shot, but not right away. Like I said, other teams give their young players a chance to play. We don't. I mean, those are just facts, unfortunately. And even the media cartel is starting to come around to that. I've been telling them that for 2 years. Finally, they're starting to wake up and say, hey, the grumpy old man was right. That said, there's no way that Montreal was trading either Suzuki or Caulfield for Anthony Beauvillier. No way. Maybe they figured they could trade us the used-up carcass of Shea Weber in exchange for him.
Moving right along there, Michael T also said, yeah, if we bring back Yamir Yager there, Brian Trottier, and Mike Bossy as our first line, we're definitely winning a cup.
What's the thing about them? They're all high-talent players, right?
They're
all high-talent
players. They're also a million years old, too.
Yeah.
Rusty Spooner said, yeah, it would really suck if we lost Bellows. The Zoo said, gents, who do you think would be the best chance to make the team on our third defensive line there? Must pick one of Wild there, Aho, or Bolduc. If we had to select there, Grumpy, who would you pick?
Most ready is probably Aho.
Who I think they would select would probably be Aho, too.
And I think Aho would actually be a good fit with Scott Mayfield. He's not as good as Devon Taves, but he's a puck mover. He really is. And he would be a guy that Mayfield get the puck to for an outlet, without a doubt. Bodie Wild's not ready, and Samuel Bolduc, I don't think he's ready either.
I mean, they're pushing him. I wouldn't be shocked if that's a guy they maybe get a call up if injury happens, if he's kind of next man in line if we're moving Aho. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Brett W. said, we need to give up a top liner for Tarasenko. A guy like Leo Komarov. Even throw in Hickey. Hey.
Yeah, hey, that's a first-line guy. Sure. That should work, right? St. Louis should know he's a great first-line player.
Alexander said, Grumpy TJ, one analyst had Samuel Bolduc as a Victor Hedman type of D-man. Or did you mean Richard Hedman?
I think somebody said Victor. I think somebody actually compared him to Victor Hedman last year.
I don't like comparing him that because Victor Hedman is outstanding Hall of Fame caliber player. I'm not going to compare him to Hall of Fame caliber players.
No, but he's a big guy. I don't know if he's physical enough yet. He needs to improve his physicality, as does Noah Dobson, honestly, who everyone knows that I like. He needs to improve on his physicality a little bit, but he's getting better. I mean, he's getting better using his body. And I think Samuel Bolduc has to learn that too. But he's not coming up next year. Not happening.
Oh, goodness gracious. Moving right along there. Yeah, again, Paul W. said, we still have Bellows so happy. Tanev there gone from Pittsburgh. I don't know. We haven't seen any trades that have been technically announced, so I'd be shocked. Hey, maybe we still have Bellows. I just was told that from sources that he's probably gone or will be gone here in the next few days. Moving right along there. The Zoo also said, gents, who would you pick there to make? Oh, okay. Actually, he said there, if we're looking to fill 2 spots, we need 7, right? So who's yours? Or do you think Lou is looking for a defenseman and Mr. Outside Hire? I'm thinking he's going to grab somebody who's available. Yeah, we're going to go Mr. Outside Hire. I don't think, and the funny thing is, right, Aho is going to be on a one-way contract. So if you don't go ahead and play him up there in the league or have him there as a 7th defenseman, he's gone. I mean, Andy Green's going to be our 7th defenseman this year, or he'll be our bottom pairing defenseman. So I envision he'll still be here. We're not getting rid of him.
You don't think he still plays with Mayfield in some way? I don't think.
Dobson.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, with Dobson. I don't know.
And then Brian P said those two old farts talking about Saint Sutter would not help rebuild the power play. Suter. Yeah. Did they call him Sutter again?
Yes, you did.
Suter. I'm sorry. I just keep thinking about the Sutter boys. How about using Wallstrom and Bellows and regulars to roll in and build up confidence there up instead of benching them? When they give up a goal there on the ice.
That's what you should do in the regular season. You let those guys develop their confidence, and then come playoff time, you're ready to cook with gas.
Kev Rock also said, I'm a 46-year-old Islander fan living in Arizona last 3 years. I'd love Connor Garland as an Islander.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a guy I want. He was a guy, remember I said Connor Garland, Philip Forsberg. Those are the type of guys I wanted to get. I certainly didn't want Kyle Palmieri. He's one guy I didn't want, as you remember, because I don't think
he played well in the playoffs. Come on.
You know what? He played okay in the playoffs. He was absolutely invisible against Tampa. Freaking invisible, as most of the team was, except for the one real player on the offense, Matt Barzal.
Taco Fall there said Beauvillier for Suzuki, or is that too much?
Montreal's not doing it.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm just not sure why Montreal would want to do that. I mean, Suzuki played well in the playoffs. They see like that chemistry. I'm not sure why they would try to.
I will say one thing. Montreal is really hot for guys who speak French. They won't hire a coach unless he can speak French. They won't do it.
Well, a lot of people in Canada have to learn. Like in Canada, they have to learn French as a second language. There, I can't remember exactly. Go ahead.
That is the language in Quebec.
Yeah, but I'm saying also like in Ontario and everything like that, the schooling they have to learn French there. Like how students learn Spanish, or they have a choice to pick there. French is the language. I mean, it's not so far fetched to think that, but that's what's required.
Well, in Quebec, French is the major language there. It's not English. And that's why when you talk to the press, you have to talk to them in French.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rusty Spooner said, I don't like NHL players playing the Olympics, especially during the regular season. Injuries are too risky for me. How about you, TJ and Grumpy? I'll let you take this one first, Grump.
I like watching the NHL players in the Olympics. I don't think there's that many injuries. Tavares aside, I remember the year he got hurt playing the Olympics. But I like to see the best players play at all times.
Yeah. Again, I look at it like this here. It was a big selling point for the players, which is why the CBA got agreed to on. That was one of the big major points there for them. I like to see good competition there play. The injuries are kind of up there, but they don't really check all that often there in the Olympics, or am I misremembering that? There's not all that physical of a style of game. They're playing hard, but it's not like NHL playoff style of hockey or anything like that. It's a little different. I think it's a little more relaxed, laissez-faire than that. Well,
yeah, not real physical. And I remember Tavares, when he hurt his knee, it was just the angle he kind of went down when he got hit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was a while ago. That's right. I forgot he got banged up there in the Olympics.
Yep.
Too much specific. He said, I was bewildered when they traded Luongo and drafted Rick DiPietro. Weren't we all?
And they also traded Olli Jokinen, who went to have like a 15, 16-year career, for Oleg freaking Kavasha and Mark Parrish. And I remember Milbury saying, if this doesn't work, this is mad. If this doesn't work for Mad Mike, it's off with my head. Well, that wasn't the case, even though it certainly should have. Everyone knew that was a bad trade. And here's the thing. At that time, I would post some things on, whatever was available back then, and they got dropped immediately. They just kept dropping. And I said, it was just a bad trade. I went into the details, and whatever side I went, I was too stupid to realize, I should just copy and paste this so I could just repost it over and over again. After 2 or 3 times, I just gave up.
They started silencing your voice? Is that what they did?
That's right. That's right, because I wasn't an Islander hack. But I spoke the truth. And once again, the truth comes out.
Oh, Alexander said, TJ Grumpy, who from that draft I don't remember was good. Talking about that old draft there with Rick DiPietro there in it. Man,
Danny Heatley, Marian Gaborik.
Jason Spezza?
No, Spezza was not.
After?
No, Spezza was before. I'm sorry. Spezza was not in that draft. He was not in that draft. I think it was after.
Brian Neal said, what if Seattle picked up Cam Atkinson?
Cam Atkinson used to be pretty good for Columbus. I don't know what happened to him, though. Did he get hurt?
Remember he got hurt 2 years ago, had that really bad concussion. Do you remember that?
Okay. Yeah, he was pretty good for Columbus.
So I'm looking back at all some of these old players from that draft. This is back from the 2000 draft. Danny Heatley, Gabrick, Raffi Torres. Remember that? Scott Hartnell. Oh God, Ron Hainsey, Brooks Orpik. Oh man, Justin Williams. Nick Schultz was another name out there too. Jarrett Stoll. Man, oh man, you're seeing some of these names. It was honestly, you look at not all that many Hall of Famers on this list here when I'm just taking a quick glance at it.
Yeah, but the whole thing, Marion Gaborik and Danny Heatley were like 1 and 2 on everybody's draft board except for the New York Islanders. And then Raffi Torres, I mean, we picked him at number 5.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you could have had somebody else. I mean, they were just 2 bad draft picks. No very specials.
Yep. Moving right along there, Paulo C also said, "I would rather trade Bailey or even Nelson and bring up Pajot to the second line, not Beauvillier, please."
Yeah, I would too. I don't want to get rid of. I don't want to get rid of any of the younger players. Sorry.
And then Brian P said Brian Boucher's son is someone I like. He can score. He can skate. He's compared to Tom Wilson. That's what I said. I some people put him out there as like one of the most well-rounded type of individuals out there, well-rounded players out there. Some people have him slipping and falling. And again, I think if that's a guy you can look at, maybe even get in the second round or trade up to make sure you're secure in the second round, that's a player who, I mean, if he could blossom, really turn into it again, because he's got size too. He could skate. He's got the ability to shoot the puck on net, and he's really physical. Hey, let's move right along there. It doesn't matter who the Islanders will take. It'll be some stiff that works hard and has stone hands. And he also says, Cole Caulfield's too exciting for us there. He might score too much.
He's too small for me. I know he played well. Was he like 5'6"?
He's small, 5'7", 5'8", something like that.
He just doesn't fit with what we do, unfortunately. Under a different coach, yeah. Because you want to know what? He's exciting, and he puts the puck in the net. Most teams admire those qualities in a player, not the Islanders.
Jerry Springer said, the used up carcass of Shea Weber, laughing his ass off. I'm done. That's what you said there, Grumpy. And Alexander said, Grumpy, I put $100 that Casper Simon Holmstrom will be a 30-goal scorer.
In his career. Perhaps 30 goals in his career. Maybe.
30 goals throughout his entire career, right?
Yeah. He's not going to be. Let me tell you something. He has freaking bust rate. You know what you won't be able to say? He's the youngest player in the AHL again this year, because that's how they never say how good he is, just how he's the youngest player. You know what that means? He sucks. Sorry. Jesus, H. Grumpy old man.
Moving right along there, 2 minutes pessimistic. He said, my opinion, Olympics go to non-NHLers and the Canada Cup goes to the NHLers. I'm old school.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle, unfortunately. Can't do it.
Moving right along.
I did like the Olympics. When we beat the Russians in 1980, man, it freaking meant something. It meant something. It was incredible. Because the Russians were all professionals and we were all amateurs. Every team was amateurs in name only for the
Russians there, Grumpy, they were amateurs too. They were members of the army.
Yes, just 30-year-old guys in the army, so they were all amateurs, but it meant something. Now, you'll never have that moment again, ever. And for those who didn't live it, I can't even explain to you how great it made you feel, how fantastic it was, because it was so incredible. This was a team that just like 2.5 weeks earlier, 3 weeks earlier, got absolutely blown out by the Russians in Madison Square Garden, 10-3. I think they only took 17 or 18 shots, and they scored 10 goals. And it wasn't even that close, honestly. And just to see how we grew as a team, it was something to watch. It was so exciting, and everyone was behind them. It was fantastic. One of the greatest sporting events, even on tape delay, that I ever saw.
Kev Arkle said Parrish there was a good Islander, though. Got to admit that.
Yeah, but he didn't put up the numbers that they were expecting from him. And I like Mark Parrish. He was certainly the best part of the deal the Islanders got back. But when you think about Luongo and Jokinen's career, it was nothing.
I like Mark Parrish there in the role he served also as a commentator too, Grumpy.
Yeah, when he was doing the AJ Malesko role in between periods, he was really insightful. I mean, really good. he does that now for Minnesota. But I was unhappy when they let him go to bring in AJ because he was way better.
Rusty Spooner also said, we also traded away Chara, FML. Yeah, we traded away, 2 Hall of Fame caliber players there back during that time period, but hey, And then W said trading Luongo was one of the worst moves in Islanders history, if not the worst.
It was the worst. Nothing else was even close. It was the worst. Set your franchise back 10 years.
And then Brian P. said Milbury gave away Palfi, Bertuzzi, Chara, all for vets. Man, Milbury was terrible. Yeah, hey, don't get us down that.
Every trade he made was bad. Everyone.
Mm-hmm. And also given that Yashin a 10-year contract, icing on the cake there.
That wasn't him. That wasn't him. That was Wong.
And then Michael T said, would Grumpy embrace winning the cup, lose way, or only embrace winning a Stanley Cup if it was Grumpy's way?
I would. I like I said last year, if they would have won the cup last year, that would have been the greatest achievement of any Islanders team in history, even more than the dynasty era. Why? Because the dynasty era's teams were absolutely loaded, where this team is just really, it's Matty and the Jags. Way more of an accomplishment. And would I be happy if we won the cup lose way? Absolutely. I just don't think it's possible. That's all.
Jeez, man. Fair enough. It's like saying, I honestly, I don't know if you'd be happy until we actually won it. And then you'd still find, I feel like, holes to pick out of that cup saying, well, we won it because of X, Y, Z. Well, we won it because of this. You'd find ways to, I think, diminish the value of that cup.
I will say one thing. I would not be anywhere near as excited as I was when we won the cup in 1980. That was for me, that was the pinnacle, TJ, the top.
Mm-hmm.
The cherry on top, man. That was something else. Oh, I get goosebumps right now thinking about it.
Brian P. also said, yeah, remember that same Russian team beat the NHL All-Stars 6-0.
Yep. They were fantastic.
And Michael T. said, who remembers the Heels and Flats show?
Yeah, Glenn Healy and Pat Flatley. Yeah, they were kind of entertaining together.
Grumpy would have film said, hey, Grumpy, got to say goodbye. DJ's an idiot. We'll see you.
Thank you. What
Anyway, Grumpy, hey, man, we're at the end of the comments. Longest podcast to date, 3 hours and 20 some odd minutes, Grump. My friend, what do you have to say before we wrap things up?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
And thank you, Grumpy Old Man, for being a part of this. And again, thank you, everybody who tuned into the live stream. It means the world that you guys listen to myself and the Grumpy Old Man, guys. That being said, hey, we'll be live here again this Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can make sure you don't miss out on any action by subscribing, liking us on Facebook, and following on Twitter, or subscribing wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure to check out also our podcast we do on Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. That can be found exclusively on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So make sure you subscribe to that. The link is in the description below. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And again, thank you, Grumpy Old Man.